Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome to Maggie and Perloff Show. No Maggie today. She has a much-earned vacation. Andrew Bogusch is sitting in. And Bogues, I think you picked the wrong day to sit in for many reasons. Number one, we're having technical difficulties. I guess the whole country's having technical difficulties. But number two, we are going to talk about this ESPN.com top 100 athletes since 2000. It is list season in sports. Not a lot of live sports going on. And I'm not sure in 30 years I've been more mad about a list that has come out. This is infuriating. And it's actually, I'm mad at you because you're not as mad as me about this top 100 list, this ESPN list. I want you to be irate because I'm irate. I know that you sat with your son and spent 3 hours breaking it down last night. But tell me, how is Michael Phelps, spoiler alert, how is Michael Phelps, greatest swimmer of all time, the number one athlete in the world since the year 2000? Michael Phelps, he's a swimmer. Bogusch, he's a swimmer. He's over Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Tom Brady, LeBron James. You're telling me Michael Phelps is a better athlete than LeBron James? Is this like, it's swimming? What is going on here? What's your problem? Why are you not with me on this?
Can I just remind America that you are the father of at least one swimmer and you are dismissing the entire pool community this morning?
Because I know how it works. There are very, very few athletes who have access to big-time swimming. He is basically outperforming thousands of people, where Lionel Messi is outperforming pretty much everybody in the entire world.
I want to be as mad about this as you are. But let me say this very quickly, not to crush the whole thing, but lists are dumb.
No, they're not.
There's never been a good list. There's never been a list with uniform approval. Even on this show, list/bracket, the bracket's so bad and so debatable that Pete made a separate bracket as a protest bracket to the original one. So
that's because I wasn't allowed to be the single person doing the bracket. It had to be a collective effort.
Let's just blame EJ at this point. I don't know why we're holding back. He's not here to defend himself, so that's good. He's got the pain management, whatever kind of escape clause here. But the bottom line is EJ seems to have ruined this bracket. You had a good one. I'm sure Maggie had adult, respectable, objective choices. And then EJ walked in, and we ended up with Family Guy's a 13 seed, and It's Always Sunny in the play-in game.
So, exactly. But this is about the ESPN.com top 100 list. It got criticized. They put out 50 to 100. And the one that stood out to me was Aaron Rodgers, currently the Jets quarterback, was number 91.
Yeah.
So there are 90 athletes since 2000 better than Aaron Rodgers. Maggie and Perloff, full disclosure, did the same list last year, and we had Aaron Rodgers at 18.
Although you guys didn't do any international, so your list was not as
Messi.
You had Messi, but like you didn't have Luka Modric on your list or even in your mind.
But we only did 25.
Right, you only did 25, and I don't think you were doing the full, like there's a cricket player on this list.
But was he top 25?
He was not, but my point is that this is supposed to be a little more worldly than you guys did it, so it's not an exact comparison. While I agree, Rodgers at 91 doesn't make any sense. The question is, why is he 91? And I don't know why it took at the very end of this list, after number 100, which is Charles Woodson, ESPN.com finally tells you how they got here.
Okay, and explain it.
I'm going to try to, because I thought it was just kind of a straight popularity contest. Everybody got a point total, and then all these votes were submitted, and somehow Aaron Rodgers had the 91st most votes. But that's not what they did. I'm going to read this word for word so I don't misrepresent it. But this is how they got here. Experts in individual sports were asked to vote to rank the top athletes in their sport since January 1, 2000. Those votes pared down pools in each sport to lists of 10 to 25 athletes each, which constituted the overall candidate pool for the top athletes of the 21st century so far. So every sport had at least 10 candidates for this list. Each voter, and these are all ESPN.com employees, each voter was presented 2 randomly selected names and asked to pick which one has had the better career in the 21st century. So you're sitting there and you were just getting head-to-head matchups like who's better, Pete Bellotti or Ryan Botcher. And you're going to pick one of those two.
Botcher.
Across repeated, randomized head-to-head matchups, more than 70,000 votes were cast at this stage. And using an ELO rating system, don't know what that means, the list was pared down from 262 to 100. That list was then evaluated by a panel of experts for any inconsistencies or oversights, resulting in the top 100 ranking seen here. So did Aaron Rodgers randomly end up against like Michael Jordan or LeBron and Kobe and Brady and Messi? He just kept losing because he was like always randomly the underdog in these scenarios?
So did he end up against Jason Kidd or James Harden or J.J. Watt, who is 42 spots higher than him? Regardless, it's ridiculous. It's because he went on Tucker Carlson. I know this because I know people at ESPN, and this everybody knows it. I mean, usually we avoid politics on this show, but that is obviously what happened here.
It's certainly involved. I mean, it'd be dumb to say it's not involved. I don't know what the percentage of the involvement is because I don't think every ESPN.com employee across the globe is angry at Aaron Rodgers liberal.
Most of ESPN.com's employees are in America, just to be clear. It's not like an international operation. It's in Bristol, Connecticut.
Well, right, but the website exists in multiple countries, and they have writers that cover sports in their countries. How we got in? That's why we have European soccer. That's why we have a cricket player.
Americans know European soccer. They know me and Maggie, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Messi, and Djokovic, and Federer. Like we had the same international athletes. Come on, it's ESPN.
You had Iniesta and Zidane on your list?
I would have put Zidane on the list.
In your top 25?
No, but he was like 52 on their list, and yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, everybody knows who Zidane is, and everyone knows Zlatan. And like, anyway, regardless, the list is stupid. But let's focus on Phelps number 1. So Ryan Botcher, who is producing today, said that he's the most decorated. But if you look at what he's decorated for, he basically got 7 medals in Olympic for doing the same darn thing. Look at Beijing, 400 medley gold, 100 freestyle relay, 200 freestyle, 400 freestyle. Like it's like giving.
Okay, but Messi's on the list for scoring goals. All he does is score goals.
I'm just saying, it's like giving Usain Bolt
point?
3 gold medals for winning the 80, 100, 120. He happens to be the most celebrated, but that's the nature of swimming. Is like once you win 1, you win 4. So he's basically the fastest swimmer, which is amazing. But it's not even really a sport in the same way. Like, is there a ball involved in swimming that I haven't seen? I guess that's water polo. How can you put him over the real like elite sports where everybody's trying to get into it? I have a friend named Kenny Powers from the show Eastbound and Down who summed it up really well. Let's hear from Kenny Powers about the status of swimming as a sport.
You're not the only athlete here at Jeff Davis. I happen to be training for a triathlon right now, so doing a lot of running and cycling, swimming. Well, you know all about that.
No, actually, I don't. I play real sports, not trying to be the best at exercising.
Exactly. So Michael Phelps is he practices really hard to have the most endurance, and he was amazing. But he's not better than Tiger Woods and Serena Williams and Tom Brady and LeBron James. Like, those guys should have been ahead of him. Maybe it's the international style of this. Like, internationally, people know Michael Phelps because he did dominate the Olympics. I have no problem with being top 5. But number 1, that's ridiculous.
So while you bring in Kenny Powers, I'd like to defend Michael Phelps by bringing in my friend, Michael Phelps, who is live on the line right now to defend swimming. I'm kidding, Pete. Calm down. Michael Phelps is not on the phone.
I panicked a little bit there, too.
Do you think I could have snuck Michael Phelps through on a regular day, let alone the day where half the computers don't work? So you say that he just got good at endurance and that if you win 1, you win 4, but not everybody won 28 gold medals. Like I see your point that it's to a certain extent, because I don't even have, like, this whole list is almost impossible to do this because it's never an apples to apples comparison.
Sure.
I don't know. And like Messi and Ronaldo are not 10 spots apart, but they are on this list. The tennis guys at the top go Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer's got a lead on the other 2 guys. They're basically back to back. But Djokovic is now unquestionably the best player ever. So how is Federer ahead of Djokovic on this list? There's, Albert Pujols is the first baseball player at number 24. And then rapid fire after that, we've got Mike Trout, Clayton Kershaw, and Miguel Cabrera. And Kershaw and Cabrera in the 30s are not 60 spots better than Aaron Rodgers. Nikola Jokic at 28 doesn't make sense to me. But then you throw an F1 driver and a cricket player and women's European soccer. This was...
eclectic.
Is that the right? I don't even know if that's the right word. This is, I was going to say, almost a waste of time. It's like mental gymnastics to compare two things that shouldn't necessarily be compared. But like if you're saying Michael Phelps should be in the top 5, then I don't know how mad you could be at him being number 1.
Well, here's the thing. My key issue, I went over this with a few people last night. I think how many people have access to the sport and how many people want to star in the sport. Lionel Messi is outperforming millions and millions and millions of aspiring soccer stars. LeBron James is outperforming millions and millions of basketball people. Tiger, to a lesser extent, not as many people play golf, but what he did was incredible. Same with Serena. It's just a small world, swimming. Because you mentioned my daughter is in it. Like, you need a lot of money to compete in swimming. You need a lot of time. You need the right situations. Like, Phelps did not beat as big a pool, no pun intended, to get to this spot. So I would ding him a little bit for that. I mean, you're right. If I have him at 7, what's the big difference? But even that, I was just doing to be nice. I don't really think he's the 7th best athlete since 2000.
Even like the competition pool, like you and I played basketball growing up.
Yep.
I played through high school.
Yep.
You played into college.
But JV, but whatever.
You played. But neither one of us was really competition for LeBron to overcome, to be LeBron. And, Messi didn't play in schoolyards until he walked onto the Argentinian national team. Like at 11, he was playing for basically being a half a pro for club teams for major European organizations. So he was very much into this hallowed ground, limited access, like you need this to get in.
No, that's ridiculous. There are so many players who have access to soccer. Like, if you're good
to start, and then
they'll find you,
and then you have to be found, and then you get all the benefits of being good. But it wasn't like somebody walked past a patch of grass somewhere, and that 19-year-old kid is good. Give him a Real Madrid jersey. Like, he'd been in the system for a really long time.
Yeah, but you're saying, you know what I'm talking about. It's like there are parents all over this globe who wake up and say, have a kid and say, man, I hope someday he's like Messi. No one's like, oh man, I hope this 3-year-old kid's like Michael Phelps. I mean, come on.
There might be a couple people. People who swam competitive. I'm not. Listen, I understand the difference between the two things.
It's crazy to me. And maybe I'm a little bit down on the Olympic sports, but I think they're more niche sports. So I have an issue with that. I mean, I do have an issue with the fact that there's so many WNBA players listed so high, many more than NBA players. I think is it. I actually in the bottom 50 is all WNBA. I think that was a little bit of overkill. I just think this list reflects ESPN.com. more than it reflects who are the best athletes. It's my opinion. I mean, you totally disagree. It's fine.
I don't totally disagree. What doesn't completely compute is that there are other people on this list that have or should have gotten a lot of pushback from the same people that you think are pushing back on Aaron Rodgers. Like Novak Djokovic is Aaron Rodgers-esque.
No. Nobody.
Novak
Djokovic isn't doing 50 podcasts where he's questioning the system.
But he organized.
It's so different.
But he organized a tennis tour to put a middle finger up at COVID, and everybody got COVID at it.
Nobody in America follows men's tennis anymore.
But
nobody cared about that.
That's why they had tennis editors and tennis reporters at ESPN.com or wherever vote for these things. Floyd Mayweather, there are bad people on this list that people were able to put their personal opinions aside of, apparently, and put them in the top 20 or the top 30 or the top 50.
You know it's different. You know how this country is right now, how polarized it is about politics in specific. And you know the kind of politics that Aaron Rodgers delves in, and you know that makes people really, really angry. Floyd Mayweather, you're right, has done awful things. First of all, it was a little farther ago, and I'm not surprised that it's just totally different. Like people right now, it's an election year. People are fired up about politics, and they're really into the kind of things Aaron Rodgers is talking about. And you know he made a lot of people mad.
But Yeah, okay. He made a lot of people mad. He made me mad. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I'm done. I'm over Aaron Rodgers.
All
the
the
person.
podcast stuff?
I think some of the things that Aaron Rodgers has said have been completely irresponsible and bordered on punishable. Some of the things that he puts out there, and shame on those people who continue to give him a place to say things that are whatever.
So you're admitting right there that you are viewing sports through a political angle.
No. I'm admitting that I have a personal issue with Aaron Rodgers, but I'm also an adult and a quote-unquote professional, and if you gave me a list of people of top whatever, give me your top 5 quarterbacks, top 15 quarterbacks, like Aaron Rodgers would be on my list regardless of what I feel about him personally, and my possibly naive assumption is more people than you think did this exercise close to objectively as possible.
Oh, you're out of your mind. Yeah, you think ESPN, of all places, they do anything objectively? This is ESPN we're talking about. They have the journalistic value of People Pilates, golden retriever.
So then what you need to do is not care about it at all.
No, I can't do that.
Okay, well, you got to pick one here. You got to either dismiss it altogether and not waste time on it, or you need to, I don't know, I
hear what you're saying.
Back off a tiny little bit on painting the entire operation as anti-Aaron Rodgers, because this list is crap. Let's be honest. This list makes no sense.
No.
At every level, there's nonsense.
I do agree with a lot of the guys at the top. So you could call us 855-212-4227. Weigh in on Michael Phelps being number 1. Also, Barry Bonds at number 38. There's a PED thing. Would you ding him in a list? That's that's actually a real debate. I'm into that.
How are Barry Bonds and Alex Rodriguez ahead of Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera on this list?
Well, the 90s 2000 split. They were very specific in the instructions.
Oh, no, I know, but still, Jeter and Rivera were still damn good post 2000. And to not in any way, it appears, to hold back on A-Rod or Bonds doesn't make sense to me.
4-time MVP, though. Back to back. Barry Bonds, you can't disagree with that.
Well, you can, because he was cheating the whole time.
Right, but also he had a lot of production in the 90s. It's not his full legacy. How many MVPs did he win in the 90s, Ryan? A bunch, I think.
3.
Yeah, I mean, he had 4 times in the 2000s. He had 4 MVPs?
In a row.
Okay.
From
How many did he win total?
04.
7? But then you obviously get in the PEDs. Why did his stats get so much better in the 2000s than the 90s? We all know why. We all have eyes. So I think you have to take that into account. All right, anyway, you weigh in 855-212-4227. Coming up next, an athlete who I was shocked was not in this list because he has everything ESPN wants in the fact that he's the most inefficient player in the history of the NBA, but still writers love him. We will talk about his trade right here. Maggie and Perloff show. Andrew Bogus sitting in and making me mad. We'll be right back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
On Maggie and Perloff, we're debating this list that has made me very angry. ESPN.com ranked the top 100 athletes since 2000. It is definitely list season out there. Not a ton of live sports. Of course, the Open Championship is going on overseas. We'll get into that later, and we'll break down the Russell Westbrook trade, which was kind of confusing and interesting. But right now, we're obsessed with this list. Give us a call, 855-212-4227. Is anyone with me that Michael Phelps should not be over Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Tom Brady, and LeBron James? I mean, it's swimming. Okay, whatever. Let's hear from, we got Kevin in Oregon. Kevin, what do you think?
I'm actually from San Francisco, but I live in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And I'm shooting for, because I'm biased for my teams, I'm shooting for Jerry Rice.
It's 2000.
I'm not sure where he goes in there, but he should be in the top 100.
No, but it's since 2000, Kevin.
So he hasn't played since 2000?
No, he did play. I remember I was at the Super Bowl in 2000. 2001. He did play. No, but it's like they only judging the production since 2000. Most of his damage was the 80s and 90s, right? Yeah. So he wouldn't qualify.
Yeah, I got rid of Kevin, so Pete wasn't any meaner to him.
Kevin's really great. He's not the only person who misunderstood this list. A lot of people had 90s people in there.
But we told them off the air that it was the 2000.
Yeah, but Jerry Rice, by the way, was super effective. He he ended his career with the Raiders, and remember him and Tim Brown were there against the Bucks in 2001. Even his 1.5 years of production to me was a little better than Michael Phelps winning 28 gold medals.
Oh, his 18 months of this and the century is better than 28 Michael Phelps gold medals.
You go over the middle against the Tampa 2. Michael Phelps was just swimming.
Have a real spine here, okay?
Swimming,
if you hate
like
swimming that
activity.
much, don't let your daughter swim. Make a stand.
No, she's probably quitting swimming because it's so stupid.
Because of her dad doesn't believe in her and says she's wasting her time.
Yeah,
Great
I'm
job.
like,
As you're driving to Long Island pools at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, are you just browbeating her about her sport?
football is a sport. Swimming is something you do when it's hot outside. It's like, let's cool off and go swim. It's just, no. I mean, come on. All right, Dexter Henry is in doing updates. You said, wow. What's the last time you watched a non-Olympic swimming event? Anybody here?
Do they have them?
They don't. This is not a sport like football.
It's a sport.
It is a sport. I know.
I used to swim competitively, so it's a sport.
Oh, no. Oh, what the? That's intentional. You use a swim intensity and you have a swimmer's body. Now I get it. What is going on here? Dexter used to swim.
I noticed
you guys had a ringer.
He was in the butterfly.
You guys had a ringer come in?
I'm just saying, don't disrespect the swimmers out there. That's all I'm saying.
If you had a choice, Dexter.
Yes.
You had a choice. You could be 12th man on the Knicks bench or the third best swimmer in the world. Which would you be? Or no, I'll give you 6th man.
I'm taking 6th man on the Knicks bench.
Of course, but, because it's a real sport and it's awesome.
So I want to say this. I don't think that you're wrong here about Phelps being number one. I don't disagree with you about that.
Who would you have had?
Since 2000?
Since 2000, yes.
I'm probably going Tiger or Serena. I might lean Serena, actually.
Funny, my first instinct was Tiger Woods. And Serena was amazing, but Tiger transformed a sport like Caitlin Clark's doing in the WNBA right now. Like Tiger was just different.
That's fair.
I think Tiger Woods, it was, part of it was 98, 99, so maybe that's the argument. But how can you say Phelps had a bigger impact? And I'm talking Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie today. You don't think that Michael Phelps had the same impact as Tiger Woods, do you?
Well, no, but I guess the deciding factor is the calendar. Like the Tiger Woods phenomena started before 2000. So like how much credit does he get for that after 2000? I mean, he won, 13 majors post 2000. So that's pretty good. The simple resume is there. Where I was struggling in this top 10, which is the real meat of this, is how do you quantify the overall impact of the people who spanned the cutoff?
Okay,
like Tiger,
or Barry Bonds,
or how do you how do you kind of move the goalpost, so to speak, to account for the more cultural part of their significance?
But 90% of Tiger was post 2000 or 85%, so I think that counts.
But the push to play golf, different communities playing golf, or golf going to places where it didn't go before, was all well underway by 2000.
Because of Tiger, you're
right?
saying.
So he had already started though. That part of him was already in full effect by 2000.
I mean, when did he first win? 98? I don't know.
No, I think earlier than that.
96.
96.
I think it was 96. Actually.
Yeah.
96 was that first major?
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Weigh in 855-212-4227.
By the way, I think specifically LeBron versus Brady at 4 and 5. That one I could spend an hour on. Going back and forth on who deserves to be ahead on that list.
You could spend the whole show on that one.
Because they're both post 2000, so there's none of this confusion. What started before, what started after.
Wait,
LeBron's the all-time NBA leading scorer. Brady's the best football player of all time. I think that head-to-head is fascinating.
On-air production meeting, which poll should we do? Who should be higher on the all-time list, Tom Brady or LeBron James? Or should we do you agree that Michael Phelps is the greatest athlete since 2000? Can we put that one up? Because I think it's going to be...
Put them both up.
Yeah, put them both up. I think it's going to be 87% say, no, I do not agree with Michael Phelps being number one overall.
I think he's top 3 at least.
Really? You put him over Serena, Tiger, and all those other...
I would do Sabrina, LeBron, Phelps, Tiger.
Well, no Brady.
No Brady, and then Brady after.
By the way, Usain Bolt to me is also a better athlete than Michael Phelps in the sense
See, I thought Usain Bolt should have been higher. What was he, 9?
He was 8, I think.
Yeah, I thought he should have been higher.
I think what Usain Bolt did was so spectacular, but I can see the argument. I mean, what Phelps did was spectacular.
Is track a real sport, though?
That's
right. Like
that's a long discussion.
You run when you have to get somewhere fast. Like what's your throwaway metaphor for track and field? I'm like, why?
Because a lot of people have access to track. I would say it's a bigger field you're going against. And I got in this argument with EJ, our executive producer, last night. Jimmy Johnson, I think, was in the 40s, the race car driver. Again, he's not competing against the whole world because only certain people have access to race car driving. That's why there's so many legacy race car drivers. Like half of them, their dad was in NASCAR.
And and this is again one of the problems with having an opinion on this list. Like I'm one of these newbie F1 fans because of the Netflix show, and I don't know anything about cars to begin with. But while I watch a race, the best car wins. Obviously, a dude's got to drive it and not crash it. So it's not like I could sit in the car. But like right now, Red Bull has the best car, so Max Verstappen wins. Like Michael Schumacher had the best car, so he won. Which why am I blanking on his name? Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes had the best car, so he won 7 years in a row. Jimmy Johnson had the best car, and so he kept winning. Like that's where I don't know how do you compare that to a truer team sport?
No, that's a good point.
And LeBron, by the way, and everyone always needed help.
Okay, there's a debate going on in the chat. Infinity Sports Radio Network YouTube channel. Pine Needle says Tiger should clearly be number one, and other people say golf is not really a sport like these other sports. Because swimming is more physical.
Right. Now, do you think Tiger was hurt by being all his Tiger stuff at number 8? Because 8's low for Tiger.
Is he 8? Wow.
He's 8.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, with all due respect, there's no way Simone Biles is more impactful, had a better last 24 years than Tiger. And she's a spot ahead of him. And
she is spectacular.
Roger Federer didn't either, and he's 6.
That's a mistake. Tiger should be higher. I guess that's you could judge golf. I think that's recency bias because we're all watching Tiger struggle. Actually, this week we're watching Tiger struggle. But no, that's a mistake. I agree. All right, let's get to some updates. Dexter, what else is going on besides this list?
I got a good one to start off. Tip this off. I'm going to tip this off with a bit of sports betting talk. So since the start of Summer League, guys, odds to win the NBA Rookie of the Year.
Oh, good. Make me angrier. Here we
have shifted. With Memphis Grizzlies Zach Edey, he's now the consensus betting favorite at sportsbooks to win Rookie of the Year. But the most popular pick by bettors so far is a massive long shot. It's Perloff's guy, Bronny James. More bets have been placed on Bronny James to win Rookie of the Year than any other player at multiple sportsbooks. Now, Perloff, not sure if you're a betting man here. But is throwing some dollars down on Bronny to win Rookie of the Year, is that a good move? Or should you just light your money on fire?
I actually tuned in to the Summer League last night because Bronny was on, and I know he had a really good game 2 days ago. And it was halftime, and I could not sit through a Summer League halftime, so I turned it off. Bronny balled out again yesterday. He had another good game last night. So...
And this betting term was before that, so who knows what's happening this morning.
So I thought this was the dumbest bet. I put in the group chat, you might as well burn money instead of bet on Bronny. Then Bronny had another good game, and now maybe. I mean, Zach Edey also, by the way, had a very serious ankle injury, and the fear that Zach Edey can't stay healthy about that he should not be is he the betting favorite? You said
he's the betting favorite right now.
Well,
but it's shifted a lot in the last. I just got back from Summer League. It shifted a lot in the last couple of.
Okay. So let me just make this clear. So you're basically a professional swimmer who just got back from Summer League. What are we doing here? What are you
hating on Michael Phelps?
I just Zach Edey's number one. What about all the guys who were picked up ahead of him?
Sarr went 0 for 15 the other night.
Yeah, I saw Ricochet, the Hawks guy. Woo, He's very young and very skinny.
Yeah, and was getting moved around.
Reed Shepard should be the number one.
Reed Shepard looked good.
He's really good. But this Bronny thing, is that the dumbest bet of all time? Whatever the odds are, they're not high enough. There's no way Bronny James is winning Rookie of the Year.
I mean, I guess it's worth the wild card if you can put $100 down and try to cash out on a huge. But it's not. I mean, it's not happening. Here's the deal. Give me $2. By the following Wednesday, I'll give you $1 back, and everybody wins.
I'll take it.
Do that instead of betting on Bronny.
I will say this. Dexter, did you see Bronny live by any chance?
No, I didn't actually.
He is he's definitely fast. He can definitely jump like crazy. So at least he's athletic enough to be in the NBA. I don't know if he's just 6'1" and doesn't play point guard. I think his skill set is way underdeveloped.
I was talking to somebody out there. The hope is that he will play with the G League team for a good amount and develop there. So we'll see. I don't know if you'll get to see him the way you want to see him with playing with his dad. I know you're waiting for that moment.
My plan is bring him up for the first week of the NBA season, bring him in garbage time, throw an alley-oop to your dad, then go down to the G League and learn how to play. Although it's going to be hard. He's undersized. And to be undersized, you have to be either a great shooter or just incredibly athletic, like John Morant athletic. And he's not that. So it's going to be hard. All right, what else you got?
It's going to be rough. All right, so one of the best offensive linemen of the 2000s is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He believes a movie is to blame for him being left out. Willie Anderson, who played 13 years in the NFL, he feels that the movie The Blind Side created an unfair bias against right tackles, which is the side of the line that he played on for the majority of his career. Now, Anderson said the film reinforced a growing narrative that left tackles are more valuable than right tackles. The right tackle did point out that versatility in the sport has changed, where pass rushers are coming from everywhere and the right tackles are just as valuable. So, guys, does Anderson have a legitimate beef here, and do right tackles deserve more love?
Bogus, I know how you feel about this one.
I love this story. I saw this yesterday, and I don't want to argue with Willie Anderson because he's bigger than me and he played in the NFL, but it's hard for me to think that, because I think the Football Hall of Fame has the best selection process of all the Hall of Fames, where all the candidates have a writer from their market present them and defend them. They sit in a room, they talk about it. It's not stupid baseball writers just filling out a ballot and mailing it in blank or whatever. So I like the process. It's hard for me to think that somebody in that room pre-Super Bowl week is quoting a Sandra Bullock movie to keep right tackles out of the Hall of Fame.
It wasn't just a movie. It was a book by Michael Lewis, who wrote Moneyball, and that bias is 100% out there. And also, like, a lot of smart football people said that it's a stupid bias because right tackle is huge. I'm an Eagles fan. Lane Johnson has played right tackle, and he's the most important player on the team every year because the pass rushers are now moving around because they know that the other team put their best player at left tackle.
Right.
This all started because Lawrence Taylor almost killed Joe Theismann. That's the plot of the book Blindside.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, too, is what about Tua, who's a lefty? Like, the right tackle is his left tackle, theoretically.
Right.
Because his blind side, it's just, I think in modern football, like, everybody moves around so much that I do think the right tackle is probably undervalued. I think that bias is out there. Listen, am I an expert on Willie Anderson's play? Can I evaluate him versus Orlando Pace? No, I do remember, I'm like, oh, yeah, that guy was he was a great player, as I recall. There's definitely a bias. I mean, you have to admit that part is true.
Well, I mean, bias, or like we've been told that the positions are different, and like, was Willie Anderson, like, it might be true now, and it is true now, that pass rushers are moving all over the place and everyone's got to block them, but was Willie Anderson blocking Lawrence Taylor on occasion, as an example? I mean, they never even played against each other, but my point is, Lawrence Taylor was always against the left tackle. When I can remember Lawrence playing for the Giants, he moved around, but it wasn't like it is now. And there wasn't another Lawrence Taylor on the other side, which some defenses have now too.
The Giants, who was on the other side of Lawrence Taylor? They had big pass rushers, as I recall.
But it wasn't Lawrence Taylor. Now, the two Super Bowl Giant teams of recent vintage did have, what do they call it, the NASCAR package. They had multiple guys.
Right.
So, and always, too, in the run game, the right tackle is supposed to be better than the left tackle. You're supposed to be, right-hand heavy running. Like, that was where you ran to that side.
Yeah.
And obviously, right tackles are underrepresented as a group in the Hall of Fame. So, there's something. I just don't know what's about the blind side. That was an odd pull as you're trying to plead your case. Like, stop watching movies and reading books and realize that I'm a good offensive lineman, period.
So they had Leonard Marshall on the right side on that Giants defensive line. Like, he was a problem. I remember as a kid, I watched Lawrence Taylor murder Ron Jaworski on a weekly basis. But the other linemen, like, they had a lot of talent coming out, so you couldn't focus on Taylor.
No, well,
as much. You did.
But Lawrence was a unique athlete.
Absolutely. No, you're right. But there is, I agree.
Julius Peppers was... trying to think of other guys. Like, I'm talking about like athletic stand-up linebackers were predominantly going against left tackles for a very long time. Defenses got creative. Offenses have had to adjust to it.
Yeah. Then you had guys like J.J. Watt and Aaron Donald who came down the middle, and that was problematic.
Right. Which means so that's a center guard conversation.
Yeah, and now
those are not right outside linebackers like Lawrence Taylor was.
Right. So you will admit there is a real debate here. You're feeding into the bias that left tackles deserve in.
No,
Willie
I'm
Anderson's
feeding-
going to have an issue with you.
I guess again, I'm on the semantics part of it. Is
Yeah.
like I just don't know that the blind side
Right.
specifically is coming up when people are not voting for right tackles into the Hall of Fame.
I think it's the book more than the movie because a lot of people in that room, it's 50 writers or so have read the book by Michael Lewis. And there is that bias. But the funny thing, too, is that movie Blindside ages horribly.
Can't stand that.
Horribly. It is, first of all, it's stupid. Second of all, the fact that it came out, Michael Oher, who is about the Ole Miss tackle, first round pick by the Ravens, went and sued the family, who apparently never really adopted him. And the family says none of that's true. The whole thing is like, you can't believe what's there. And also, too, it just feels dated politically. Some of the messaging around it is weird. I like Sandra Bullock. I have no problem with Sandy. Don't get me wrong. There is a really funny
You can
line.
call her Sandy.
As bad as that movie is, there's a scene where Nick Saban comes to recruit the player, and she goes to her husband, Tim McGraw. That is one handsome man. It was a really funny line when the coaches were. Phil Fulmer was in it. I enjoyed it because of the college football coaches,
Yes.
but it was. You're right. A Sandra Bullock movie should not affect Pro Football Hall of Fame voting.
Yeah. And I hope it doesn't.
It
I hope
definitely-
there's actual football conversations going on in that conference room.
I blame Sandra Bullock for the stupid ESPN.com 100
There
list.
it is. There we go. Now we've come full circle.
What else you got? Anything else, Dexter?
Yeah, one last thing. The WNBA confirmed on Thursday New York Liberty star Sabrina Ionescu and Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark were both invited to compete at the 2024 WNBA All-Star three-point contest, but they declined to participate. Are you guys disappointed that neither sharpshooter is competing in the three-point shootout this weekend?
Yeah. And we've been debating this all week. Maggie was a little upset at that. She's like, why would the WNBA do this? It turns out that the players said no. I totally get it. It's like LeBron James not doing the dunk contest because what does Caitlin Clark have to gain from this, for example? If she loses, that's a big narrative that she just doesn't need. And listen, there are a lot of great shooters. She could easily win. She could lose. So I get it from her standpoint. There's no upside for
I would have
her.
liked to see them go head-to-head.
Of course, it'd be amazing. But if you're Caitlin Clark, would you have done it?
Yes.
What if you lose?
Who cares?
Everybody. You kidding me?
But you say anything bad about her, you know this personally. Yeah. People are coming after you. She can't lose.
I don't know. For her, she's at top of the world. Like everyone tunes in to see her. Like she just does
That's why
not
she
need
should
any.
do it, so she
doesn't
should be on
need
the
any
court
extra
tonight.
sauce here. I really want to see her. I think it'd be amazing, but I just don't think that she sees the value in it.
Already, her first one. There's no value in this?
For her, obviously that's what she thought.
I wonder if Sab was doing it, would she have done it? I think she would have. I think if this was a non-Olympic year and the two were able to go head-to-head, I think she probably would have done it. It's my
I think when we're talking so much about what needs to be done to grow the game, and that was the thing about why is she not on the Olympic team?
Right.
How is she not on the court tonight on All-Star weekends?
Well, she'll probably be there as a spectator.
Right, but how is she not in the thing that we know her best for?
Well,
they should be tweaking the three-point contest to shoot from 45 feet like she does.
Well,
there
not,
should be a rack of balls near the logo.
It's not their decision. It's her decision.
I know.
And she's done more than enough to grow the sport. She has no extra responsibility. Like, she's done her job. I mean, by far. There's nothing. Caitlin Clark, I mean, they should be thanking Caitlin Clark for what she's done already because WNBA has grown so fast, so quickly, mainly because she arrived this year.
Sure, and I don't think she needs to do this in perpetuity, but this is the first three-point contest. She's about to be, not invisible, but she's about to be off the court for a month during the Olympic break. I don't know why she wouldn't do this.
All right. Thank you, Dexter. We got to break down this Russell Westbrook trade because it's mid-July. By the way, very funny reporting on the Russell Westbrook trade because Woj had a series of Woj bombs that just made no sense whatsoever. We'll break it all down right here on the Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
Peter Bellotti, he's a man of many tastes, but he's got a debt, and it's not going to waste. Andrew Bogusch
2 minutes,
is
30
waiting.
seconds
He's
remaining.
been oh so kind for that well-seasoned steak. It's been on his mind. Peter Bellotti owes Andrew Bogusch a steak. Oh yes, he does. Well-seasoned juicy with all the flavors he loves. It's time to fire up the grill. Make no mistake. Peter Bellotti, it's time to bake that steak.
2 minutes remaining.
Andrew Bogusch's been patient, but he's starting to drool. Thinking about that steak, oh, it's making him cool. Peter Bellotti, don't delay. It's time to make amends. Cook up that steak, and they'll be the best of friends. Peter Bellotti owes Andrew Bogusch a steak. Oh yes, he does. Well seasoned, juicy, with all the flavors he
1 minute,
loves.
30
It's
seconds
time
remaining.
to fire.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
%95 no. So people agree with this list that Michael Phelps is the greatest athlete of all time. I that makes no sense. We have a second poll up. Who's had a better career since 2000? Tom Brady or LeBron James. Want to guess who's winning that one, Bogus?
Brady.
Killing him, 87-13. How'd you know it was Brady?
I just know how this works.
Yeah. Well, LeBron is polarizing. The thing is, LeBron's a better athlete than Tom Brady. Tom Brady just sat back there and picked apart the defense with smart 8-yard passes. That's a fact. I mean, Tom Brady himself, you saw the combine picture.
Yes,
runs
but,
like a 5.3 40.
But this list is not combine results. They were not trying to find the best athlete.
Well,
should
that be a factor? Also, I need to hear something. Your son Jake apparently has strong opinions on this. What was the thing that bothered him? He's 10 years old. 10.
He's 10. He'll be 11 in December.
Okay.
And we sat down last night at the kitchen table, and I pulled up the list, and we went person by person. And this little kid, like, shrugging, grunting, had a reaction to everything. People that I didn't even know. And even, like, the cricket guy, he's like, oh, no, I get that. I've heard of him before. I'm like, you've heard of this guy before? I'm not having an opinion? And, like, you know, and then I was taking notes as we were going for this exercise. So then he starts grabbing my computer and typing his own notes in.
Wow.
Adding on. I mean, he just, like, the fact that he had an opinion on people, was rooting against people, could not believe certain people were there, dismissing race car drivers as a group.
Interesting.
Who's Michael Schumacher? What's a Jimmy Johnson?
Who's Michael Schumacher? Okay. All right. Fine.
So, I mean, he had more CBS Sportsman or Odyssey Sports Minutes in him than I did based off of this list. Like, he could do all of Boomer's 5 minutes Monday morning off this list.
Is Jake coming for our jobs? I
hope not.
I'm the one person in this industry who does not like young, talented people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even lie.
You're the one person that doesn't like young, talented people?
Well, I say it. Everyone's like, Pablo Torre, who's out at ESPN, came when I was at Sports Illustrated, came and I'm like, get this guy out of here.
He's from my high school.
Yeah, he's way too good.
My buddy married his sister.
What a jerk. Having all that talent. It's obnoxious. Okay, yesterday there was an NBA move. I got the Woj bomb that the Clippers traded Russell Westbrook to the Jazz. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Then it was followed up by he's likely to go to the Nuggets. What was your instant reaction? Because the Nuggets are championship or bust team, won it 2 years ago, obviously. My general take is Russell Westbrook doesn't necessarily help you win a title. He's kind of a polarizing player. What do you think of Westbrook to the Nuggets?
Before the basketball, you wanted me to be angry. Your Aaron Rodgers at 92 anger is my anger at the NBA setup. That if the Nuggets wanted Russell Westbrook, just let the Nuggets trade for Russell Westbrook. Why do we need the Jazz in the middle to broker these stupid things and take a guy off one roster, and then I'm going to waive him, and he's going to go to the Nuggets? We know he's going there. Why doesn't the system just simply allow for the Nuggets to trade directly for Russell Westbrook?
Don't even start. I mean,
he only makes $4 million too. So it's not like we're moving contracts and eating up cap space or whatever. Like, just be able to trade for him directly. But
they wanted what's his name, Kendrick Dunn.
But why
Kendrick
did
Nunn?
they need an intermediary?
Dunn.
Chris Dunn,
the
that's Providence guy.
Okay.
But like, why do we need the intermediary here?
Do I have to explain the first apron and second apron again to you?
And you know what? Go crazy. Give me the third apron as well. Give me all the aprons.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I honestly got so tired of the NBA financial structure that it's hard enough to understand what an NFL contract is when it's 4 years, $130 million.
NFL is third grade math. I got a handle on that.
Yeah,
the NBA is insulting.
Okay. Regardless of all that, will Russell Westbrook get the Nuggets back to the finals?
The Nuggets are actually better today than they were yesterday.
With Westbrook? See, I don't know. I'm not so sure about that.
They're thin. They're going to miss Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Reggie Jackson left as well. A buddy of mine works in Colorado, and he tweeted yesterday like a depth chart of the Nuggets, and it's real thin after a good starting five. But after that, it gets real thin. So they're better with Westbrook, but this is going to be a weird year for them because they've gone, at least on paper, talent-wise, they're not as good as they used to be.
But they won't spend. Really, they don't want to go into first apron, second apron, third apron.
And I like Deron Holmes, big 8'10 guy. That was a smart pick. Blew his Achilles out. So off the depth chart he goes.
Yeah, that's a big problem. And, they lost, who was the guy that lost Bruce Brown 2 years ago? That was a huge blow.
Yeah.
The point of the whole NBA salary cap structure is for parity, and they're getting it. I mean, we've had 6 different champions in a row, and everyone thinks the Celtics might break that trend, but it's hard. So Well, we got that out of the way. I'm not sure we need to do any more Westbrook because we got lists to break down, including not just the top athletes, our sitcom bracket. Bogus, we're down to Sweet 16. Wait till you hear the list of the shows that are here. I'm not sure I agree with most of them. We'll get into that next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Oh, boy. This is painful. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. Not that Andrew Bogusch is sitting in for Maggie Gray. That's wonderful. But we are watching Tiger Woods in the background. What is the latest, Bogusch, on how he's doing at the Royal Troon?
Yeah, he's 11 over par.
What's the lead? It's
the 7 under.
Okay.
So for the uninitiated, that's not good. You don't want to be that far
11
off.
over. Okay.
Yeah, he's 18 shots off the lead. I think it's top 70 in ties make the weekend, so he's not going to make the weekend. 3rd straight major.
Wow.
It'd be nice if there was like a AAA that he could go to and just play in obscurity without any expectations.
Wait, he made the Masters cut, so the can't be.
He made the Masters cut.
Yeah, you said 3rd straight major that he hasn't made a cut.
Yeah, the PGA, the U.S. Open, and now this one would be the 3rd straight.
Oh.
Masters is first.
Oh, yes, but my math was off. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we always argue, should Tiger sit down? Should he retire? I think Maggie, who is on vacation today, would say this is enough. It's not going well. I am of the camp, he's 48. There's time to turn this around. Yes, this is bad, but look at the conditions there at Royal Troon. It's a disaster. It's cold, it's wet, it's rainy. The grass is 9 feet high.
Well, it's not a disaster. It's Open Championship golf. This is what it's supposed to be like.
I understand, but it's just for an old man like Tiger, this is not ideal. I'm not going to kill him for this. I don't know which camp you are. Are you of the idea that Tiger should not be putting this version of himself out there and it's time to hang him up?
Oh, I have no problem with him playing. That's his right to keep playing. I guess part of me wishes he could be a little better physically to play. I just think we should stop considering him, so to speak, for like he's incapable of winning.
But do you really? Okay, you think he'll never win another major?
I don't.
Did you think Phil was going to win the PGA at 50?
It's not the same thing.
Did you think Tiger? Well, did you think Tiger was going to win the Masters in 2019?
I probably didn't. I probably had this. I probably had the thoughts then that you have now, that there's another one in him somewhere. But I am just so down on his physical limitations, and I don't think that there are things that can go away. That's the other thing. It's not like he's coming back from a torn ACL or blown Achilles. Like, his leg was rebuilt, almost amputated. Like there's always he's never going to be back to full strength. So this to me is never going to change enough to allow him to play 4 good rounds against the best players in the world.
And it's not just the full strike thing. It's the fact that he can't play regularly.
Right.
We all know, I mean, even in a casual sense, playing golf regularly is a big deal to be good at golf. So, like the Masters, how many tournaments did he play before that? None, right?
He's only played the majors this year.
Here's the one thing that I keep holding in the back of my mind is about the Open Championship. I watched Tom Watson come inches away from winning at 59. At the specifically that tournament, just you never know. I would encourage Tiger to keep going as long as he can. I think that you never ever know in golf. I think something crazy could happen. Obviously, not going to happen here at Royal Troon. Shane Lowry, my guy, Shane Lowry, Bogusch. I don't know why he's my guy. I just always say
he's your guy because he's pudgy.
He's pudgy. He's always sort of hanging around. Maybe
he's the
this
patron
is
saint of your non-athletic golfer argument.
Yes. Big argument today. ESPN.com put out a top 100 list, athletes since 2000. Tiger Woods was not number one. It was Michael Phelps. Shane Lowry was not even on the list. What's up with that? I'm just kidding. Basically, golf did not get a lot of respect. I don't think driving got a ton of respect. They seem to go more towards Olympic sports, more internationally oriented. Okay, let me throw out a name that was not on there. Should they have considered Caitlin Clark for what she did in college basketball? All-time leading scorer. Is there any argument that Caitlin Clark should have been on there?
There's not. There's not a valid argument. I'm sure somebody could try to make it. But I mean, I don't even think Asia Wilson, who's the best player in the WNBA right now.
Yes.
has won the last 2 WNBA titles, has an NCAA championship too, right? She's ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
She's 27, Asia Wilson.
Yes,
she's awesome.
She's only been on our radar for like 6 or 7 years. That's not enough to qualify for this exhibition, in my mind. She should not be on the list. So Caitlin Clark definitely can't be on the list.
Okay, Caitlin Clark, not top 100 athletes since 2000. Also will not be in the three-point shooting contest this weekend, WNBA All-Star Weekend. Do you have a problem with this from Caitlin Clark's standpoint? Reportedly, she said no. If you were Caitlin Clark, Andrew Bogusch, would you have competed here?
Yeah, I would have felt that I should be in it. I might have wanted to be in it, but I definitely would have felt that I should be in it. I'm confused by this because while you see no benefit to shooting 3-pointers in Phoenix, I see no negative to doing it.
I see a big negative because she has such a spotlight on her. If, say she came in last, that would be really bad.
Would it?
Yes.
In what way? Would people going to stop watching games? Burn her jerseys in the street? What's the negative
Even
here?
worse, she'll get sort of who knows, a negative tweet from somebody else in the WNBA. Just what? She's the biggest. Will you admit she's the biggest star in the sport?
Yeah, I don't think that's debatable.
Would you admit that she's having a very good rookie year and she's improving?
100%.
So why risk killing all this positive momentum for an exhibition event?
Because I don't think an exhibition event on a Friday in Phoenix that's for fun can kill that momentum.
Yeah, you're probably on the popular side of this. I don't even want to put up a poll about this. Should Caitlin Clark? Of course she should. I remember Larry Bird winning it and pointing his finger up in the air and walking off?
Yeah.
Like, you're right. At a certain point, she should do this. I don't love that LeBron has never done the dunk contest. I don't love that my guy Zion Williamson won't do the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see all these guys do it, but at least I understand Caitlin Clark. She's just different. I mean, she has so much pressure on her to be outstanding at all times that maybe she just doesn't want to add this. I mean, it's hard. She's carrying the whole league on her shoulders. Now you're going to ask this three-point shooting contest. And when I say she's carrying the whole league, of course, there are tons of great players, but we all know that there's a lot of pressure on her to be good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I don't, there's no way to know the difference here, but like the ratings are going to have to be different tonight because she's not shooting.
Yep.
If we knew she was shooting, Ionescu or not with her, but if we knew Caitlin Clark was shooting, you'd watch this. But people now, I'm not going to put it on. I might have put it on if she was going to shoot tonight, but she's not. So now it's not even on my radar. And I would think a lot of people are making the same decision. Like, okay, with all due respect to Kayla McBride and Jonquel Jones, like, I'm not going to watch this 3-point shooter. But if I knew at 9:30 tonight, Caitlin Clark was going to have the money ball in the left corner pocket shooting threes, it might be on my TV if I was awake.
I was reading the Bleacher Report write-up of this, and it said that Sabrina Ionescu is also not doing it, and Caitlin Clark are the two biggest stars in the WNBA. Is Sabrina Ionescu in that list?
I mean,
I would say Breanna Stewart might challenge her. Asia Wilson.
I can't quantify it with numbers.
Yeah.
But Ionescu was like had a third of the Caitlin Clark effect going in college, and then COVID messed up the kind of the trajectory there. Mm-hmm. I know she's got her own shoe. I know she's super popular. She's certainly one of them. I mean, Stewart's there. Asia Wilson's there. Taurasi, I'm assuming, still has a significant following.
Sure.
But Ionescu is 100% on the short list of most popular players.
Okay. It also said they are two of the best 3-point shooters.
That's true.
Well, except for percentage-wise. I mean, the reality is that Caitlin Clark is shooting 32% from three, which is not good.
No.
And she's really struggling lately. And the reason is, and it's not even her, is she's having to take incredibly difficult shots. She's been pushed way out by the defense.
Yeah, shockingly, there's better defenders in the pro league than in NCAA.
I've been saying this to Maggie a lot. It's not just that. It's the coach is running a system that is not helping her get open in any way. She has the ball in her hand at all times, so everyone knows where the ball is.
Right.
It's easy to cover her. She had 19 assists the other night. Like, obviously, the defense knows where the ball is. Iowa moved it all over the place. Yeah, Caitlin had the ball in her hand a lot, but they were a much more free-flowing offense. So that's my issue. You can weigh in 855-212-4227. Do you have a problem with Caitlin Clark not being in the 3-point shooting contest? I'm with you. I would love to see it. And at certain points, she better do it. Maybe it's been too much this year. I mean, she's put out a lot of energy.
She has, but she's like 36 hours away from having a vacation because she's not, unfortunately, going to be in the Olympics.
Well, that's my second question. Is this a huge mistake by Team USA not to have Caitlin Clark?
I think it's a mistake. I don't think it's a huge mistake. But the logic of making her the 12th person on that roster, that seems very strong to me.
Well, they're worried. There's a lot of reports that they're worried, well, if we bring her over to Paris and then she's the 12th person on the roster and we don't play her enough minutes, that they will anger fans.
So this was better. So this backlash was better than that backlash?
Maybe. They will. First of all, they dominate the sport. They don't need her to win. And they will argue, okay, she'll be there in 28. So it wasn't necessary. Why deal with any backlash? I disagree. With you, I would 100% have her on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an argument to be made when you're, and I guess this is alive to a certain extent on the men's side too, where you're not just taking the 12 best players. So the comparison is to the people who play her position. And Chelsea Gray was the Aces point guard and right now is a better point guard top to bottom and has experience, has a bigger body, a stronger player. She's a full grown up than Caitlin Clark. Like there's a reason why she's not on the team. That's purely basketball. That's legitimate. The idea that she has to be on the team because she's that good, is not true, because you can't compare her to anybody that doesn't play her position. They don't count because it's about filling specific spots. Mm-hmm. And there are players who are more established internationally than she is. She doesn't have to be on the roster just based on basketball. But to me, when you're doing this, spots 11 and 12 should be developmental spots. They should be for the next wave so that she's been around this before she's had to lead it.
Got it. Okay.
That's how, to me, I would have put her on. She might have to be one of our best players in 4 years. So I want her first Olympic experience to not be that. I want it to be this one where there's no expectations from us on her. She can see what it's like. She can get a feel for the game. And then in 28, she's not learning on the fly. Or she's learning less on the fly.
The only thing is the team, it's not competitive enough that you need to do that because they're going to win anyway.
Yeah, and it's certainly not competitive as the men's game has become.
Yeah.
But it is more competitive than it used to be.
Okay. I just don't think
relatively speaking.
That is a good argument you made, and it makes perfect sense. I just don't think competitively you need to worry about it. And maybe I'm naive.
But then, okay, if competition level is the argument, then she should be on the team, and you don't need the better players.
Yeah,
send our B team then to win.
Yeah.
I don't need Breanna Stewart to win goals. So let her stay home and rest.
Yeah.
If it's that
Caitlin.
easy.
Anything to get Caitlin over there. You said you're not going to watch the 3-point shooting contest. I'll bet you're not going to watch the women's tournament as closely.
And I'm a sucker for the Olympics, unlike you. So I'm going to watch almost all of these things. But, the WNBA, for all of its growth and legitimacy, it's still a league in development. It's still on its way up. It has to make decisions for different reasons. And you have to, when you're them, to me, you have to put her on this team because you have to have people's attention. USA basketball, men's side, doesn't need to make business decisions in this way. But I think the women's side did. And they missed the boat.
I think the men's side, we'll get it later in the show, are making some interesting decisions.
I'm all in on the Jaylen Brown Nike conspiracy.
Oh, there's a lot going on. The fact that Steve Kerr came out and said that the three guys we're playing are LeBron, Steph Curry, and the ghosts of Joel Embiid.
Well, I think he said he likes them together. Oh, right? What? He likes them as a trio on the floor.
Jeez. They probably still will win, but that's your big three. Anyway, just to wrap this up, I think everyone knows that it'll be more interesting with Caitlin Clark. I honestly I don't remember a lot of women's basketball over the last 20 years because it hasn't been super dramatic because U.S. has just dominated. The men's has been more interesting because the risk of losing. So regardless, I think we all agree it would be more fun if Caitlin was there. You're right. Tonight's not the same. You can weigh in 855-212-4227. Should Caitlin Clark say yes to the 3-point contest? All right, we have our update, Bogus. The sitcom bracket, the Maggie and Perloff show sitcom bracket. We are down to the Sweet 16. It is dramatic. It is stupid in many ways. Some of these make me really angry. We'll break it all down. We'll break it all down next, Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute.
You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Sit back, relax, we got a break to go. In just 5 minutes, we'll be back on air. So take a breath, we'll soon be there. 5 minutes, count it down. Maggie and Perloff, the best show in town. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's wait. 5 minutes now, it's gonna be great. Time's ticking down, it's almost here. Maggie and Perloff, we're so near. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. You're in a 5-minute break, so don't go far. Maggie and Perloff know who you are. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, count it down. The Maggie and Perloff Show will be back around. Okay, I gotta get off. Perloff Show, we'll be back around. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's wait. 5 minutes now, it's gonna be great. Time's ticking down, it's almost here. Maggie and Perloff, we're so near. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. You're in a 5-minute break, so don't go far. Maggie and Perloff, we know who you are. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, count it down. The Maggie and Perloff Show will be back around.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 16 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie Gray. Maggie's on vacation. She'll be back soon. All right, I got a wrestling question for Pete Bellotti. Last night, Hulk Hogan...
Is it real?
Last night, Hulk Hogan spoke at the Republican National Convention, and he referenced, I think he was talking about Donald Trump and Vance as a tag team like him and Randy Savage. I'm showing them in here. Did Hulk and Randy, were they a tag team?
Yes, they were.
But a lot? Like that for like... Did they win the belt?
So it was WrestleMania 4, which was in Trump Plaza, where they united as the Mega Powers.
Yeah.
And then that led to the next WrestleMania at Trump Plaza, where they broke up and they fought each other for the title.
So did they win the belt?
No, they didn't win the tag titles, but they were a tag team a lot of 1988.
Because, if I was like going to be a tag team, I would want to be like the Road Warriors or somebody who like really was less of an individual. Yeah, like less of an individual star. So I was calling that out last night.
Yeah, it was more of a storyline setup than anything.
Right. All right. Side question: who's your favorite tag team of all time, Pete?
Heart Foundation probably.
Yeah. See, I'm a Wild Samoans fan. Bogus is just shaking his head.
I think Bogus likes the Bulldogs because he referenced them.
Bro, yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. A little left turn there, or right turn, as it were. Now let's get to serious stuff. We have...
Like what, Kid Rock?
It's not serious?
No. Well, I mean, it was the Republican National Convention.
The wrestling was serious.
I was surprised to see Hulkamania there. He looks great, though.
Because it's what, 2024 or what?
No, because Hulk is like he looks like he's 35 years old. He was ripped.
Yeah, he's 70 years old.
Yeah, I mean, like, Ric Flair would not have looked as good up there. Can we all be honest about that? I mean, don't get me wrong. Ric Flair is always fun to see. Okay, let's get, again, to important stuff. Our sitcom bracket, the Maggie and Perloff.
Throw it a break. Let's just reset again and come back.
The Maggie and Perloff sitcom bracket. We have reached the Sweet 16 finally. We are trying to determine the greatest.
You said that very...
We're trying
a lot behind it.
Trying to determine the greatest sitcom of all time. So the voting from yesterday, MASH beat Everybody Loves Raymond. I thought Everybody Loves Raymond should have been way higher than an 8 seed. I was vetoed on that, but MASH beat it 57-43. The Cosby Show, a 4 seed, beat Good Times 60-40. Okay, whatever. Curb Your Enthusiasm knocked out Frasier. Whoa.
Good. As it
66-34. Curb, I think that's a recency bias because Frasier was a huge show. And here is a wild one. This is totally nuts. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia beat All in the Family. They just beat it, killed it, 65-35. All in the Family, one of the most famous sitcoms of all time, gets destroyed. I told Maggie that this is what was going to happen. The more modern sitcoms were going to win. Because this is how voting is. A lot of people haven't seen All in the Family or haven't seen it recently. Do you have a problem with any of those results, Andrew Bogus?
Well, my problem with that last one is twofold. I mean, I'm glad to see that the voters were able to be professional since Rob McElhenney is kind of the Aaron Rodgers of the sitcom world. That they overlooked those issues with Rob.
Wait, what?
Kidding.
Okay.
But the issue here is not new versus old. It's why is Always Sunny a 10 seed? That's not fair to All in the Family that their second round matchup is as a 10 seeded.
I don't know.
It's Always Sunny. What is this committee doing?
I have to admit, I juiced the numbers big time for that because I tweeted out we need help, and then Barstool will come up later in the show as well, jumped on that, retweeted it. Because they love me and my buddy KFC love Always Sunny. There's a big Always Sunny cult amongst media members and others. You know how many people watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Like 37. It's on FX.
And
in
here's
the middle
3
of
of them.
Yeah, it's like people love Sunny, love it, but a lot of people haven't seen it. It is weird that they went up against All in the Family. You know what bothered me? Modern Family got knocked out by by Married with Children.
Stupid.
I'm like, because Married with Children was too low. You want to read the whole Sweet 16? We might as well get into it. We'll break it down later. We have actually 2 guests on the sitcom bracket.
I noticed that.
Sports.
We're double, and they're almost back to
but
back.
But they
at
are
this point
sports
now.
reporters, okay? They're sports. It's going to be Sports Illustrated's Jimmy Traina and Wall Street Journal's Joe Flint, who is really the premier sports TV writer. Mm-hmm. But they also want to weigh in on the sitcom bracket and that ESPN.com 100 list. So important stuff going on here. Maggie is somewhere.
We should check on Maggie.
She's in a plane. She's going to turn around and say, talk more sports.
But that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
She's supposed to be flying this morning, and a lot of either airlines or airports are messed up by this computer issue, this Microsoft problem. So I don't know if Maggie actually is flying this morning.
Yeah, good point. I hope so. I hope everybody out there is safe and not delayed too long. Okay, Sweet 16. I'm going to run it down, and you guys, anybody chime in if they really think that one team is going to advance. Simpsons versus Jefferson. Simpsons is going to easily win.
This is right. This is the Simpsons bracket. That's the 1-4 matchup.
Yes. I mean, Simpsons is going to win this.
I don't know if that's that easy.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Jefferson's
pretty easy. It's pretty easy, Pete. You're going to be the one vote for the Jeffersons.
Come on.
Now,
I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a blowout.
Okay. You're going to not buy us steaks over that one, too?
I'm going to throw a steak at your head in a minute.
Okay, great.
Okay. The next matchup in the Simpsons bracket.
This is a doozy. This is an all-timer.
14 seed, way too low, Family Guy versus 2, The Office.
Yes. This is the problem again with the committee and the seeding.
Tough.
Family Guy as a 14 is so bad. This bracket should have been set on fire just for that decision. Right. And now here's the problem. You have 2 potential number 1 seeds, 2 Final Four teams going head-to-head in the Sweet 16 because Family Guy got a 14 seed 3 weekends ago from you guys. This is your fault.
Agreed. Okay, Cheers bracket. Number 1 seed Cheers goes against number 5 seed Happy Days. I was actually surprised Happy Days knocked out 2.5 Men. It was close. I thought 2.5 Men as a 13 seed was way too low as well. Just my opinion. I have to think Cheers wins that. 2 kind of older shows.
Yeah.
Next matchup, this is a good one. Number 11, Married with Children against number 2, Friends. I mean, Friends is a heavyweight, a big favorite, but Married with Children is like NC State in the actual NCAA tournament. Like they got hot in the ACC tourney. They got sort of Al Bundy is the DJ Burns of this sitcom bracket. That is actually a sneaky entry. I mean, Bilotti, you were telling us Married with Children is a force.
It is. There's that following that's out there that it's like the Friends following. So It's 2 big followings going after each other. I want to see how tough Married with Children. So I think Married with Children has a chance. Friends will end up edging them out, though.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a good matchup. It's one of those games where it's close for a while, and then the better team pulls away late, and the final score doesn't dictate how close the battle might have been. But at the end of the day, you have to vote for Friends in this head-to-head.
Although I have my thoughts on Friends, but I'm not going to go down that road.
Wait, Dexter Henry's shaking his head. You're not a Friends fan?
Most overrated show of all time.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it with my chest. Friends, most overrated sitcom of all time.
That was Dexter Henry that said that.
By the way.
But Pete, I know you feel me.
A lot of people know, a lot of people learn English through Friends. It's like a huge American export. You go to Europe, they know Ross and Rachel. More so than like a lot of things about America.
My daughter was watching some show on Netflix last night that's like a teeny bopper show, and the characters are like late teens, early 20s, and one of them made a Ross and Rachel reference. We were on a break, and I'm like,
No, it's very popular.
How is this hitting?
Because it became a huge streaming hit. Like Friends has had a big second life. What show is it they're watching?
I actually don't know what it's called. It's about, it was like
Because I've seen all these shows 100
models and designers. It was like a show, like a drama, but it was not, but it was, I don't know. And like some people had English accents, some people didn't, so I wasn't sure where it was set. I just watched, I was walking through the room for like 2 seconds. And what's this? And she said, I don't know. I don't know what it's called. And so why'd you hit play? But she was watching it, and I heard a friend.
I know what this is. I know it's called Geek something. It's about this nerdy girl who becomes a model, right?
With like red hair.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Seen it.
Liked it.
I only saw like 5 minutes. Okay. My daughter was watching. Okay, next bracket, Seinfeld bracket. Seinfeld versus That 70s Show. That's gonna be Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Next one, Fresh Prince against I Love Lucy. Maggie's kind of been pushing I Love Lucy. I think Fresh Prince, because it's much newer, has a good chance here.
This was the most heartbreak in this little corner of the bracket for me because Fresh Prince beat 30 Rock, and I Love Lucy beat How I Met Your Mother, and those are two of my favorite shows of all time, 30 Rock and How I Met Your Mother. I voted for both of them to win those matchups, so I'm a little bummed that neither one of them survived.
Okay. Next bracket, the MASH bracket, I think probably the weakest bracket overall, and that's why I think the lowest seed could come out of here. Number 1 seed MASH versus number 4 seed The Cosby Show. I'm surprised more people have not dinged The Cosby Show because of what's happened with Bill Cosby. But they had kind of easy matchups coming in. So I think MASH has to win that, right?
Has to win the head-to-head, yes. Yeah. But give me a MASH versus It's Always Sunny regional final.
Well, here's the thing. The last matchup of the Sweet 16 is Curb Your Enthusiasm versus It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Curb's a pretty popular show in this. It's done very well in the voting. So we'll see Curb could easily get out of that. I think the winner of Curb and Always Sunny might beat MASH.
Yes.
MASH has not gotten that many votes. I mean, it's obviously a great show. Can I say one thing about The Cosby Show? When I was a kid, I remember it's hard to understand how big that show was. It was bigger than Cheers. Like, it was, everybody talked about The Cosby Show. Like, everyone knew what a Theo shirt was. Like, there were all these references that came out of The Cosby Show. It was huge. And even Cosby's stand-up was like seminal.
Yeah, and you were telling me the other day in the hallway that as a young teenager you listened to Cosby's stand up because it's not dirty, there's no cursing and stuff like that.
Obviously, I think he's a terrible person, but his stand up. Have you ever heard Dad is Great makes us chocolate cake? When his wife's out of town and he has to make breakfast and he says, chocolate cake, it's got eggs, those are healthy. It's got flour, that's healthy. And his kids start singing, Dad is great, make us a chocolate cake. I mean, I don't know how to say he's a good stand-up. Like, he's on the Mount Rushmore. He's all time.
Yeah.
His albums are incredible. But I believe what he's accused of happened, and therefore I honestly would not vote for The Cosby Show. Dexter, are you a Cosby Show fan at all?
Cosby Show was huge in my house. Watched it every Thursday night. Grandmother used to come over. So, big time show. Who's it going up against again? MASH?
MASH, iconic. Huge show. Just dated. That's the problem.
I think Cosby Show wins that one.
I think MASH might win that one.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, Cosby Show's pretty old, too.
It is, but I think if you can just judge it on the show, if you can take all the other stuff away, judging just on the show, I think Cosby Show's a legit competition for MASH because that show was very good and it was well made. It was funny. It was important. Like, that's a legit competition.
MASH was MASH was the biggest show on TV.
Yes, right. So, like, the impact of MASH is huge, and no one's ever going to touch the finale rating record. But, like, in terms of just, like, comedy chops.
Yeah, sitcom.
I think if you picked one Cosby Show and one MASH episode, I think a Cosby Show is funnier than a MASH episode.
I agree with that.
Oh, yeah. MASH is not funny like that anymore. Okay, it's interesting to me. We'll wrap this up. There are 3 double-digit seeds that I think have a chance. Number 14 seed Family Guy, number 11 seed Married with Children, and number 10 seed It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia have a chance. I think it's going to take a miracle. We could have a NC State Villanova situation here. I mean, Seinfeld, the 4 number 1 seeds to recap, Seinfeld, Simpsons, Cheers, and MASH are all live. So we'll see. We're going to start voting on Monday, officially, of the Sweet 16. And later on in this show, we're going to have the Pete Bellotti Invitational Tournament, the BIT. Where are you? Are you at Elite 8, Pete?
Elite 8 and Final 4 this weekend.
Oh, my God.
Tough competition for the WNBA All-Star Game.
That's right.
The big Final 4.
Cancel your plans.
Hey, I'm free all day tomorrow. What time is the broadcast?
It's all in Dayton.
It's all in Dayton. That's right. I forgot.
It's all in Dayton. So
is that Central Time?
The Central Time, yes.
Okay.
We are. The brackets are going up later tonight, and we'll be up there all day Saturday for the Elite 8, and then the Final 4 will be all day Sunday.
I'm going to vote. And you could go to our Twitter feed, at Maggie and Pearl, come Monday to vote on the sitcom bracket. What's your Twitter feed, Pete?
Pete the Body.
Pete the Body. Go there to vote on the bit. We'll hear the actual shows, which are all pretty good, actually, later on in the show. First, we got updates with Dexter Henry. What do you got?
All right, here's what we got. On Thursday, Major League Baseball, they revealed the 2025 regular season schedule. And like 2024, the 2025 season will begin overseas when the Dodgers take on the Cubs at the Tokyo Dome from March 18th to the 19th. It'll be MLB's first trip to Japan since the Athletics and Mariners opened the 2019 season in Tokyo. So we'll see several of the top Japanese stars, including Shohei Ohtani, and the season opener. I got to ask you this, guys. Is baseball's, we'll call it the unofficial opening day, is that good for growing the sport, or does it alienate fans here in the States that don't want to get up early to watch these games?
It's idiotic. I do not like the mid-March opening day. I don't even count it in my mind. It's so stupid. No other sport would do that.
Sorry, it is weird that like we play real games and then those teams go play more fake games before they play real games
Yes.
again. It's a little bizarre, but that's the only time you can do it because it's so significant to travel there.
Well,
they have to get out of the way to start.
My Philadelphia Eagles and the Packers are going to Brazil on Friday of week 1. They're not afraid.
No, because you flying north and south is not the same thing as flying east and west.
Still a long flight.
It's a long flight. Yeah, surprisingly, 13 hours, right? But like the time difference is not huge, so it doesn't mess with like your kind of your body clock, so to speak.
I will tell you one thing. I think Shohei playing in Tokyo is pretty special. I mean, that's going to be...
Well, and just think, the last time they did this, 5 months ago, we got Ippei. Who knows what drama is going to break next year in Tokyo?
Well, is there any drama left? But that was Korea, right? Or was that...
That was Korea. That was
Yeah.
Seoul.
I mean, it's still Asia, and it's still the same, general market idea.
Totally. But, I mean, I think Shohei, and to me, Shohei is the biggest star in the sport. So that part will be fun. But to go back and do more spring training after you started the season is one of the sillier things in sports.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. It's weird. It's a little weird. All right. Go to the NFL. On Thursday, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they sued their former employee who stole $22 million from the team for they sued him for $66.6, I can't read, $million in damages.
Yeah,
okay?
Florida allows you to sue for 3 times the actual damages.
Correct. Now,
okay.
Now, back in December, Amit Patel, who oversaw the team's virtual credit card program, pleaded guilty in federal court, stealing more than the $22 million from the team over a 3.5-year period. But the team said that Patel stole the bulk of that money, $20 million, in just 8 months, guys. Now, the stolen funds, what were they used for? Gambling debts, and to fund a luxurious lifestyle.
Yeah, all the good things in life.
All the good things.
You might not like what he did, but you have to enjoy the way he spent this money.
But
Did he
apparently,
have a fancy car? And
yeah, but also like Ippei, he was terrible at gambling.
Well, that's the thing. He was not a good gambler.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
He did a lot of daily fantasy, too.
Yes, a lot of daily fantasy as well, too. And he was deep in this, transferred $5 million from his FanDuel and DraftKings account to his PayPal and other personal accounts, used it on a variety of purchases, including, get this, guys, buying Tiger Woods' 1996 putter. He also spent $78,000 on private jet charters.
Yeah.
I don't really have a question for you guys other than...
the Jaguars went, what's Ahmed up to this weekend?
Yeah.
I'm missing something. Something feels off
What's
around
wrong
here,
with
guys.
This kid nailed it.
That's
let's
what
face
points to the
it.
wrong place, isn't it? No, we're good.
I'm so glad he didn't hide the money somewhere and actually spend it. So, were you guys like me and saw the story and made you think twice about the Jaguars draft picks? I'm like, well, if they miss this guy and they took Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson, does that point to the same organizational dysfunction?
How could it not? I don't know the first thing about business, so I maybe I'm missing the entire point here. But how do you not? They go, well, he took 22. 20 mil of that was gone in 8 months.
Yes.
How do you
Yes.
not notice $20 million over 8 months just flying away?
That's
they
the question.
And then they have the nerve to go, FanDuel, you should have caught this.
Yeah.
You guys give us the money
You should
back.
give us the money back.
Yeah.
So if Ryan Botcher comes in and wearing like all diamonds and driving a Lamborghini,
He came in
you
today
guys
like that.
Yeah, you guys would be like wondering what's going on here.
We got an email yesterday that said recently we've had some office supplies taken and somebody had a drink taken out of their office, their specific office fridge. That's not okay. So Odyssey noted some Bic pens missing. The Jaguars went, nah, over $20 million. They put their fingers in their ears and just, come on. How is that possible?
I was going to say, there's not enough money at Odyssey to actually live like this.
They took spare change, whoever did.
Yeah, they took spare change
like
off
pennies
the
and
desk.
quarters.
Wait, that was what I didn't get this email.
You
What
probably
happened?
I
did, just
got it.
didn't see it.
I saw it. Yeah.
They took drinks, pens, paper, and like spare change.
Imagine having the gall to report you're missing 64 cents.
I don't want to get into this because this could be an executive who's important to us. So let's,
They said they're gonna check the security cameras and do a full investigation.
I have to tell you, there are times where I've looked for a pen around this place. It is easier to find gold in a river than a pen in our office. I mean,
aside from a pen, a lot of things that you need, strongly emphasize need to be on the radio, like headphones, microphone covers, that are not around here.
Oh, honestly, but a pen, like I almost want to like crush blueberries and form my own ink to get it back. Like I have no idea how to sign a piece of paper around here. There are no pens, right? Am I right?
No, you're not wrong about
We're
that.
out of paper now too.
Wow, great.
That's happened too.
If they're looking for a pen thief, they'll have about 33,000 people to go through.
Yeah, but I admit I'll go around. I'm going to admit, I'll just confess. I'll go around the cubes, and if there's a loose pen when I need to sign something, I will take that. Is that? I don't even know who the cubes are not assigned anymore.
They'll get you on a video.
Wait, was this taken from a cube or an office? Because I would never walk into another office.
Both.
What?
Yeah, I know people, and I've told them to their face that this is wrong or that they should be careful. So I don't mind saying it on the air. I'm not going to say who does it, but there are people that work here overnight or are coming from a different job, and instead of going home, they come here for a little bit, that they'll sleep in people's offices.
Yes, I've seen that.
That is not okay.
Wait.
And I've said that to them, like you can't do that.
But doesn't it point to work ethic? I mean, at least it's different than stealing a pen.
But you can't go down the hallway and open up a random sliding door and lay on Lenny's couch because he's not going to be in until 10 in the morning.
What if you ask permission? What if you ask permission?
Okay, that's different. I'm talking people who just like squat in an apartment in an office for 6 hours.
Yeah, do it right. Sleep on the floor in the production studio.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. So, like, there's a lot of shady things going here, and here's my mea culpa. There was a can of ginger ale in our main fridge for, I would say, 4 weeks, because I go in there all the time. I got coffee creamer in there. I got lunch in there. This one free can of soda was just sitting there from June into July. And one day I was like, you know what? I don't have an actual dollar for the vending machine. I'm taking the ginger ale. So I took the ginger ale. So when I read that email yesterday about a stolen drink, I was like, was that my ginger ale? Oh. But instead it was for somebody's office. This was from the break room fridge. So, and after a month, all bets are off. You've lost all control of an object that's been there for.
Whose ginger ale that was?
It was a diet ginger ale too. That's why I took it.
Now they're going to come talk to you.
I'm here.
By the way, I don't know how, but the our YouTube chat, Infinity Sports Network YouTube, knows who was sleeping. Somehow they.
Well, you probably know one of the people. It's a long list.
Oh yeah, one of the people is I might have walked in on the other day, dead asleep. But we're not going to name names here, and I don't know who the pen sealer is. I hope I'm not in trouble because I have taken pens off. I thought these cubes were open.
They are.
Anybody can sit at any cube. They're not assigned.
No
assigned cubes.
But still, you get in trouble for stealing 64 cents?
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
People are very free of leaving their stuff on the desks that are in cubes,
right,
and not locking up their stuff. So, I mean, sometimes if you're going to leave your stuff out in the open, you're asking for somebody to come and lift it, which it shouldn't happen. But take care of your stuff.
Well, first of all, we're talking about small stuff, though. It's not like this guy with the Jaguars who had Tiger Woods' 1996 club. If you leave that in a cube.
No, here's the thing. Odyssey is on their game. They're paying attention to detail and watching stuff. Meanwhile, the Jaguars, which is AB's point, they couldn't even see that $20 million was gone in 8 months.
Right. So Odyssey never would have drafted Trayvon Walker. No. All right, we need to take a break. I got to tell you, I was mad about, we've been talking all show about this ESPN.com top 100 list. They have other lists. It's list season. They have like 7 lists right now. There's another list that is actually from NFL executives. It's a real list, Bogus. So you can't get mad at this one.
Watch me.
They have a list from NFL executives that honestly is also a bit controversial. We'll do that next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie, who is unfortunately flying today. We just got
we were wondering.
An update from Maggie. If you haven't heard, there's a global tech outage today. So Maggie sent a photo of the airport. How would you describe it, Andrew Bogus? How many suitcases are sitting there waiting to be organized?
This is a panoramic video of, I'm guessing, Newark Airport.
Well, we don't want to give away her location, but yeah.
I mean, people are not going to go find her, I don't think.
O'Hare.
I mean, there's, I don't know, 10 rows deep and 50 suitcases wide, rows of just baggage. It's insane. You don't see the end of it. And either her video cannot get the beginning or the end of this snaking line of suitcases.
No, those are all Maggie's.
Well, by the way, you had a good point. I wonder if flights are going to be able to take off because can air traffic controller do their job? This is actually pretty serious. So we shouldn't be making light of it.
Apparently, we had I don't know who's listening this morning because many of our stations were completely off the air. Now, we've been told that the entire East Coast is back, but that's only the East Coast. So there's stations that are dead. On TV right now, ESPN can't do morning Sports Center from Bristol. So they're simulcasting a radio show on all of their channels right now. So like that's, but yeah, so the air traffic stuff, the flying, it appears to be either about an airport specific issue or an airline issue because I live near JFK here in New York and I saw planes I heard them in the air this morning. So some planes are flying. So Amy Lawrence said that she had a caller call in and say that he or his wife or somebody was flying on time. But then people I've been seeing tweeting that like Delta can't fly today. Oh, so it's specific to your location and or your airline.
Well, if anyone's stuck out there, we're really sorry. That is the worst feeling. I hope everyone is safe. We were just talking about in the last segment about office politics. The Jacksonville Jaguars are suing a former employee $66 million for stealing from them. Apparently, I was not aware there is some theft going on at our office here. There was a warning sent out. Now, I did an experiment in the break. Went back to the office refrigerator. There's one big fridge on our floor just to see if there was anything worth stealing. There is basically a cottage cheese from the year 2018. It's pre-pandemic. There's like a random Greek yogurt. It's nothing but expired dairy products. There's no food worth stealing. There's nothing in this entire joint worth stealing.
Oh, I would disagree. I thought there was a little prepackaged like charcuterie thing in there, like some sliced pepperoni and some sliced cheese. I would steal that right now.
Oh, I did not see that. Yeah. I just did a quick look because there was a guy in there who was eyeing me. He's like, ooh, is that guy going to steal from the fridge? If I was alone, I would have gone through the charcuterie board. It's funny about stealing office supplies. Do you remember, and I'm not calling myself out, during the pandemic when nobody could get paper towels or toilet paper?
Yes.
I imagine this place was rated pretty good.
I didn't know nobody was here. You have to ask. Pete was the only one that came in.
Oh, really?
For 18 months, Pete was here in a hazmat suit.
Great time in my life.
And the other one is when I got here, there's some bizarre coffee maker that made no sense.
Oh,
I was like, what is this system?
Those flat pods, right?
Yeah, is this like a Slovenian coffee maker company? And then I found out the reason.
And which was what?
That everyone kept stealing the Keurig pods.
Yep. Right. People were stealing the K-Cup, so they got a machine that is only like business class. You can't have it at your house, so there's no need to steal those pods.
Yes.
Or little flat packets of grinds.
And actually, that machine is still here, and there's only one person who uses it. Our buddy Dave Meredith.
Right. Now, and that makes 100% sense if you know who he is.
Why does that? I actually don't understand why he's the only one who uses that.
Because he's David. He's the only one that also eats sardines for lunch. Like he is his own person, to say the least.
He's the only one at our Deion Dawkins celebrity kickball tournament who got caught stealing.
He played like he had EJ's knee injury, but he didn't.
It was the mental decision to steal second, and he got caught halfway in between. He was in a rundown in a kickball game.
Oh, your patella tendon must be ruptured. Nope, just me.
Apparently,
sorry, pal.
You could use some more coffee. So honestly, I'm wandering around the halls very, very suspiciously now, eyeing some nefarious characters. I'm like, well, is that guy going to steal my coffee? I don't even know. If I go to the bathroom, is this coffee going to be here when I get back, Bogus?
I'm printing this email out and saving it. It's an all-timer. Office supplies, loose change, bottled drinks, and a desk fan have been recent.
A desk fan?
A desk fan.
Oh, that's a bridge too far.
Come on.
It's awfully hot outside, and to steal a desk fan right now.
Walk out with an air conditioner.
How do you get a desk fan out of here on the sly?
Hey, see you later, Bill.
By the way, we have some memorabilia in here.
Right, come in
it's
here.
Worth
We've
a
got
lot.
Tiki signed things.
All right, coming up next. Should Tiger Woods hang it up? rough day. Like Royal Truth.
You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Sit back, relax, we've got a break to go. In just 5 minutes, we'll be back on air. So take a breath, we'll soon be there. 5 minutes, count it down. Maggie and Perloff, the best show in town. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. Whoa! Listen to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's wait. 5 minutes now, it's gonna be great. Time's ticking down, it's almost here. Maggie and Perloff, we're so near. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. You're in a 5-minute break, so don't go far. Maggie and Perloff, we know who you are. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, count it down. The Maggie and Perloff Show will be back around. Whoa! You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Sit back, relax, we got a break to go. In just 5 minutes, we'll be back on air. So take a breath, we'll soon be there. 5 minutes, count it down. Maggie and Perloff, the best show in town. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's wait. 5 minutes now, it's gonna be great. Time's ticking down, it's almost here. Maggie and Perloff, we're so near. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. You're in a 5-minute break, so don't go far. Maggie and Perloff, know who you are. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, count it down. The Maggie and Perloff Show will be back around. Okay, I gotta get off. Perloff Show, we'll be back around.
One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff show. Maggie is off in
She's in
technical hell right now.
I just texted her after she posted that video.
Yeah, what did she say? Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie Gray.
She says, I've never seen an airport like this. The screens are glitched. Lines are massive. It's chaos. And she sent me a picture of the huge TV screens with all the arrivals, departures, gates. And it has the same error message that our computers have. Blue screen, recovery mode, hit here to so, and she was supposed to be in the air. They're flying to see, I think, her in-laws.
Yeah.
And they're just at the airport with no end in sight.
I feel terrible. If you haven't heard, there's a huge
With
technical
a 5-year-old.
outage. Yeah, I mean, not to make it scary, but we're so reliant on technology. Gosh, who knows what's behind this, but that is really tough day to travel. We're having some technical issues here. Hopefully you're hearing us out there. Apparently you may or may not be. That may or may not be a good thing. Some of the things we talked about today. I got to tell you, you know who else is having a rough time? A lot of guys at this golf tournament. I'm watching it right now. The Open Championship of Royal Troon. There, Ryan Botcher, who's producing today, we were just sitting here watching the shot. This guy must have been in grass that was 7 feet high, and he was hitting it out of it. Shane Lowry's leading. He's at 7 under par. He somehow, he was in tall grass, hit it into a crowd, must have hit off 3 different people, and now has probably the hardest shot in the history of majors golf.
They have a clock going on him. It's been 20 minutes since his last shot, between looking for the ball, moving people. I guess he got a ruling as well. It's been 20 minutes between shots.
Now he's at -5. What is going on?
This is
this is earlier. Okay.
Yeah, this is a recap of his day so far.
Okay, so Shane Lowry, who now he was recently, he did very well in a major recently. He feels like he could break through. Usually you're doing updates and you have the scores. I'm curious, Rory has not been doing well either.
No, Rory stunk yesterday. DeChambeau stunk yesterday.
Yeah.
Tiger stunk yesterday. Scheffler was okay.
Tiger's struggling again today, I believe. It's tough conditions, but that gets us to Tiger. So this has been a bad year. There's no doubt about it. The fact that he made the cut of the Masters and came in dead last, that was embarrassing. The fact that this will be his 3rd major without making the cut, that's embarrassing. But you have to admit, for a guy who doesn't play any other tournaments, it could be worse. I mean, he's never playing golf, and he's going out in the majors, and at least he looks like a pro golfer. Is he Tiger Woods? No, of course he's not Tiger Woods. But I'm telling you, he's going to get healthier. He's going to recover to some extent. So there's, in my mind, to hang him up would be crazy because he could be letting go of an opportunity to compete, maybe not win a major, but there is going to be a major where his body comes together. He knows these courses. I think his main attribute, besides being the longest driver and being a great putter early in his career, mentally, he is as tough as they come. I don't think he should retire. And I think people like Maggie, who's not here today, are kind of getting tired of seeing him limping around courses. I get that. This is not fun. It's disappointing. But Tiger Woods, don't give up. Don't give up even if you're 12 over at this tournament today.
No, this decision, the decision to be made is ours. Like, we just need to stop thinking that he's going to be in contention. Golf has always been like this, where you win events, you win whatever, and you get to be in that event forever until a certain age. I mean, every major field is full of guys who used to be good at golf, who used to be young, who used to be physically fit, who used to win these tournaments, and we pay them almost no attention from the outside. When you're there, you might you might watch them play. Hey, I saw this guy, but so you might find him, or as they're playing past, you go, oh, it was so cool to see so and so, but you just kind of let them be. Like, that's where we need to be with Tiger as much as possible with Tiger because he's Tiger, but stop wondering if this is the major where it's going to come together because I don't think we're anywhere close to him being in that scenario.
Well, I mean, Phil Mickelson is getting older, and he's very popular.
No one thinks Phil is going to win, though.
Right, but we still watch him ahead of most other golfers. I mean, maybe Scheffler and Rory are more popular, but I'll bet you his gallery is just as big as almost anyone's.
Yeah, no, you're, again, at the event, gallery's fine. You want to see Tiger Woods at a golf ball, you want to see Phil Mickelson at a golf ball, that's fine. But when you're sitting here on my TV or you're going into an event, we have to stop having the conversation of, is this the one, or what can Tiger do? Like, he can play all he wants, that's fine. He is a non-factor right now.
So who are you watching? Who are you waking up in the morning early, 2 a.m. to watch the British Open?
I would never wake up at 2 a.m. to watch anything. I wouldn't watch me in the British Open at 2 a.m.
But
like,
who are you watching? Okay,
I'm watching the event. I'm watching who's winning and who would win. Like, I'm not going to...
You don't have somebody like specifically you're more interested in seeing?
No, and I certainly don't like... And they do a great job, especially the bigger events, of all of these whole-specific or group-specific broadcasts on apps, on websites. I'm not going to go just watch Dustin Johnson play his round. I'm just going to watch. Today it's on USA. It's going to be on. I'm going to watch. I'm going to see who's playing well or who's not, and that's it. But I'm not seeking out anybody.
I want to see Scheffler. I'd like to see him make a run and not be one of these guys who just has a couple majors. I'd like to see excellence. So, yeah, I am always looking for individuals. For whatever reason, there's certain golfers I find more interesting than others. So, yeah, I want to see DeChambeau. I want to see, actually, I find Brooks Koepka interesting when he goes on run. I don't want to see randos just sort of winning this thing. Daniel Brown, I guess, was leading yesterday, some guy I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I'd rather see a player that I at least have some history. I watched that Top Golf thing on Netflix. I don't know. I mean, I think the sport has to sell stars. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Obviously, it's going to have a vacuum after Tiger Woods. That's like NBA after Michael Jordan left times 10. There's never been anyone close to Tiger Woods. So you're just saying just watch the tournament and see who's winning. I don't think that's enough.
Well, you have still guys like you mentioned Koepka and Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, the guys who actually should be, could be, will be in contention most weekends. Those are the guys to focus on. But those are the guys to watch.
But you need probably one. You need,
or at
least two. You need a Nicholas and Palmer or something. You can't just have a bunch of guys who are in the level below Tiger.
Well, first of all, no one's going to beat Tiger. So if you're looking for the next Tiger, you're wasting your time. So you've got Scotty Scheffler. I mean, Scheffler has been the betting favorite going into all four majors this year.
Yeah.
He is the unquestioned best player on the planet right now. He's the guy. He's the guy to watch.
I'm watching a live scoreboard, and I don't have it on my TV, but I guess Lowry already came down to 5 under.
From that hole where he couldn't find his ball for 20 minutes.
Okay. By the way, Scotty Scheffler is -1 right now. Now, that's interesting. Yeah, he seems like he could be dangerous in any single tournament on any course. So you're right. That is good. To me, it's really, as boring a person as he is the most exciting actual golfer right now. And that scandal notwithstanding, he's definitely the guy to watch. But I disagree with you. Like, I'm not going to be that guy who says, like, Tiger, this is embarrassing. Let's not show him on every shot, because it's still fascinating. Even him struggling. I saw him in one of those crazy bunkers today, hit the ball, and all the sand came in his face. And it was interesting. I'm sorry. It's interesting to see Tiger struggle.
But we haven't. They are not showing him all the time because now he's so far away from contention, it doesn't matter anymore.
All right, we got a lot going on here at the Maggie and Perloff show. Andrew Bogusch is sitting in for Maggie. I'm still mad about the ESPN.com top 100 list. Michael Phelps, number 1 on the list, ahead of Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Tom Brady. I'm still mad. Aaron Rodgers is 91. In my mind, a political motivation there. Want to hear from you, 855-212-4227. Any other on that list that made you upset? A lot of people don't like Barry Bonds at 38, either because they think he should be higher because he was awesome, or he should be lower because he cheated. You have an opinion on Barry Bonds' spot in the top 100 list?
I was bothered by Bonds and A-Rod, at least in my estimation, getting a pass, even though a lot of the things they did post-2000 are tainted by steroid use. Whether it is confirmed or we're guessing or whatever, I think that those guys were not, unless they were going to be even higher than they are, which I find surprising, Those were disappointing to me in terms of, especially in comparison to some guys like Jeter and Rivera that came fairly well after Bonds and McGuire did in that list.
Okay, I'm going to ask a couple sports-specific ones. They went Federer 1.
Yes.
Djokovic, among tennis players. Federer is the first guy, Djokovic 2 at 11, and then 12, Rafael Nadal. Do you agree with that?
I do. I'd like to, because I love Federer, but he's been passed certainly by Djokovic and probably by Nadal too. And Rogers in the top 10, right? And then those guys I think are 12 and 13. So all three of them I think have the right spot in the overall list.
Okay.
But I think the order's got to be Djokovic first, and then maybe there's still a little room for Federer and Nadal debate, but it probably should be Djokovic, Nadal, Federer.
I totally disagree. Nadal dominated clay. He was really good on the other surfaces, but Federer is obviously a more well-rounded player.
You and I have done this dance before.
Yeah.
And if you just take the 14 French Opens away from Nadal, the remaining 8 majors are better than or more than most of the other great players on the men's side that you can think of.
But I'm talking about Federer, obviously. And also, too, Federer's got this special appeal, just the way he played. He's more popular than those guys.
He's my favorite, and it hurts.
Yeah, he's everybody's favorite.
It legitimately hurts me that he had so little time as the greatest player of all time.
And Djokovic sort of grinds out wins and just out-endures people, so it's different. I think that's a style choice. Basketball, Kobe is number 10 overall, ahead of Curry and Duncan. It's funny because Kobe is way more exciting, way more interesting. I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of, I think the ESPN all-time NBA list has Duncan ahead of Kobe. Do you agree with that order to go? It goes amongst the, after you get after LeBron, it goes Kobe, then I think it's Curry, Duncan, Shaq.
Duncan's name on the list got a pretty strong, really? Out of my son. That was one of his hotter takes. He did not like where Duncan was.
Whoa. That's a bad take.
Yeah. Wait, what's that?
Bad take.
Yeah. Let's see Jake cover Tim Duncan in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game. That dude carried the Spurs. He was awesome. Boring as all get out, but awesome.
Curry at 14 overall was interesting to me. I thought about that one for a while.
I think that's a little low.
You think he should be higher than that?
Yeah, he kind of revolutionized the entire sport. Brought it further out from three-point line. Now everybody tries to be Steph Curry. And also, too, Steph Curry, unlike LeBron, you could aspire to be Steph Curry. You can't aspire to be LeBron because he's too big and fast.
Because you can't sign up to be 6'8", 240.
Yeah, everybody wants to be Curry. The random one, the football ones made no sense. There's no rhyme or reason because of... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good. That's just going to follow up with that. Because your Aaron Rodgers angst, I share some of it, but I should have asked you this back in hour number 1. Rodgers at, 91, 92? How far up the list should he be in your mind?
We had him... We did the same list last year on the Maggie and Perloff show, and he was 18. Now, for example, Aaron Donald is 20. Aaron Donald's amazing. J.J. Watt's 52. Calvin Johnson's around 50. The sport of football, the importance of the quarterback is so much more important than every other position. He's the only player, except the center, who touches the ball every time. Aaron Donald is not as good as Aaron Rodgers. I'll just say that, right? There is no... Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback maybe of all time. I mean, that's what we're talking about with Aaron Rodgers. 4-time MVP, won a Super Bowl, had lots of playoff runs. He should be top 25 for sure.
See, I'll agree that he should not be in the 90s, but I don't know. I don't think he should go as high as you think he should when you throw him into other sports. When you're throwing in the NBA and hockey and tennis, someone's got to go backwards. And
he was 30 spots below James Harden and Jason Kidd. What did those guys do?
Here are all the guys. As I was going through the list last night, these are all people that I, without a second thought, and this is not an exhaustive list, but Kershaw, Dirk Nowitzki, Bonds and A-Rod for their cheating, Calvin Johnson, James Harden, Bryce Harper, Andy Murray, Kawhi Leonard, soccer players like Xavi Hernandez, Bon Mati, one of the Spanish women players that are on this list. Those are the people who I immediately said there's no way that they are better, unquestionably better than Aaron Rodgers, and they're all ahead of him on this list. But if I want to play devil's advocate and do just sports here, I've got 4 MVPs, and that is a fairly singular achievement. It is hard to dismiss that. But I've got 1 Aaron Rodgers' Super Bowl title. And as his tenure in Green Bay was ending, but it was over multiple years, the Aaron Rodgers conversation was, you're losing games in the postseason, a lot of them at home, that you shouldn't lose. And we spent multiple seasons wondering who was making the right call about the future of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Should they move on? Should they get rid of him? Are they doing him dirty? Is he the problem? Or is the rest of the roster the problem? Get him a receiver. He's got receivers. So there is plenty of criticism in the Aaron Rodgers football resume that he underachieved.
Well, yeah, but look at the guys who are way, 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 way ahead of him. Aaron Donald, how many Super Bowls?
He won a Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl.
But
just
Aaron
like
Donald is, and this is maybe a question for a more football savvy people than us, but Aaron Donald's in the conversation for best defensive player of all time.
So Aaron Rodgers is not so far from the quarterback conversation. Wait, let me just go over a couple. Peyton Manning, how many Super Bowls?
2 Super Bowls.
1.5
played in a third?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Aaron Rodgers in that second Super Bowl, he had 9 touchdowns and 17 picks that year. That was different. Randy Moss is 27. How many Super Bowl wins did he have?
0.
0.0. J.J. Watt, how many Super Bowls did he play in?
0.
How many conference championships did he play in?
But he was not on good enough teams. You had all your cavalcade of friendly backup quarterbacks were always his guy.
Yeah, but who was around Aaron Rodgers? I mean, they basically didn't take an offensive player in the first round for 10 years around that dude. If you had an open draft of these players and all these guys, you got to start a team, and you have Aaron Donald and you have J.J. Watt and you have Calvin Johnson, like who are you taking?
If you were setting up
football, I'm talking about a football team,
right? But every draft now skews heavily towards quarterbacks.
And why?
Because the position's important. But if you're just doing as little context as possible, just who's better at football, I think people will tell you that Aaron Donald's better at football than Aaron Rodgers is. There will be some people that will tell you that.
Okay.
I don't know how many people.
You're right. Aaron Donald's in the GOAT conversation on defense, for sure. But
J.J. Watt, I think,
he's awesome.
He's
3-time
awesome,
Defensive Player of the Year.
Aaron Rodgers should be ahead of J.J. Watt. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers should be ahead of Aaron Donald.
There's not a huge difference between Watt and Donald. I mean, Watt dominated like Donald. And
3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he was very similar.
I think that Aaron Rodgers should be, because they're both in the 50s, right? They're like high 50s.
Yes.
If Aaron Rodgers was like 35 to 45 on this list, and then they were where they are, that would make sense to me.
Calvin Johnson is 57, by the way.
Calvin Johnson should not be ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
But I got to tell you, Calvin Johnson, anybody who tells me that Michael Phelps is a better athlete than Calvin Johnson, never saw Calvin Johnson play live because he was breathtathing.
But that is
breathtaking.
But that's not what this list is about.
Yeah.
So that's an unfair point to make.
Calvin Johnson, man, he's one of the most underrated guys because you would double team him and Stafford would throw it up there anyway, and he had a great chance of coming up with it. Ray Lewis at 61 on this list. We could go on with this for days. You could call us 855-212-4227. I want some support that Michael Phelps is too high at number 1. Ryan, we have a poll up. Who should Michael Phelps be number 1? It was 50-50. What do we have right now?
60% say no, and 40% say yes.
Too many yeses. Too many yeses. What about the other poll? Who should be higher, LeBron James or Tom Brady?
It's not even close. Tom Brady's at 89%. LeBron is at 11%.
Oh, that should be a little closer, shouldn't it, Bogus? I mean,
a little closer, but I'm not surprised Brady's winning.
All right, we got to take a break. Coming up next, you are really into Hard Knocks, off-season Hard Knocks, and you're not alone. I have a lot of friends who are now getting into the New York Giants off-season Hard Knocks. I have some issues with it, however. We'll get in that next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's a man of many tastes.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. I hope you are not being affected by the gigantic technical outage out there in the country. Our girl Maggie Gray is flying today, and she is, I think, stuck at the airport. Unfortunately, Andrew Bogusch is sitting in. Tough times. Okay, Hard Knocks. It's funny. I am getting into it. It got criticized as first as being kind of lame, and now I'm into the New York Giants offseason. And then I found out yesterday, Andrew Bogusch, you love this show, and you're totally into it.
Love it. This has been the best idea they've had in a while. The show is the regular show is definitely getting a little stale. The in-season one was entertaining, but I thought that you've gotten a more inside look at things in this offseason setup than we would normally ever get from the in-season stuff.
I agree with that. I wonder if the teams regret this because the Giants got a lot of backlash. The first episode, there were a couple moments where Joe Shane, their GM, looked like he didn't know what was going on. He's like, oh, Josh Jacobs, did that guy lead the league in rushing like 2 years ago? And everyone's like, wait, that's your analytic? You didn't even know that?
That's the last time I was here. It was the morning after that debuted.
Yeah,
and we were both like, we could do this.
Yeah, we could do this. Now it's gotten a little more complicated. And then in the last episode, Joe Shane was talking to Carolina Panthers GM Dan Morgan about this possible trade for Brian Burns. And Shane actually sounded like the man.
Oh, my God. What do we do? What are we doing, Dan? Why do we need to add on a seventh, Dan? Like, come on. You and I are going to be doing this a long time, hopefully. And, like, we got to have allies. I don't want to throw in a seventh. Like, I need players too, Dan. Like, I mean, we're picking 6. You guys would be picking 1. Like, let's just do what we said on the last one. I mean, that works out. We met you in the middle with some of your demands. We good? All right. I'm texting this to you right now.
So we sit here all day.
Good doing business with you, buddy.
Oh, sorry. We sit here all day analyzing trades and breaking down. Apparently, these trades are all these guys are buddies, and they're like, "Hey, this is like sounds like a fantasy football league where I'm texting my buddy Bruce and be like, "Hey, would you give me Tyreek Hill for I don't know Justin Jefferson?" Like, did this trade only happen because they're best friends? It turns out I saw later in the episode that their daughters talk every day. Dan Morgan and Joe Shane. So this is such a relationship league. That really struck me in that particular clip. Like, they're best friends, and that's why this trade happened with Brian Burns going to the Giants.
It made me smile watching it because I think it's that phone call we just played where if the phone rings and Shane picks up and he goes, Daniel Thomas Morgan. And Mike Yam, former Pac-12, now NFL Network, one of my best friends. And when we used to work together, I would introduce him with his full name, Michael Frank Yam, because we were that tight. And he told me his mom liked it. He did it once as a joke. He said my mom loves it, so I kept doing it. Yeah. So when he did it, it made me think of my buddy Mike. Now, neither one of us is running an NFL team to have similar conversations. But I mean, of course it matters. It's a relationship business. Like here, agents and PDs, this is how things get done.
But that's a little inefficient in the sense that if you're the Panthers, you should be looking out there for the best deal possible. And honestly, I don't think they got enough for Brian Burns. You shouldn't be just trading with your best friends.
Well, I mean, we don't know who else Dan Morgan was talking to. Shame on him if he only talked to Joe Shane because he's trying to do a favor for his buddy.
I mean, but you really shouldn't be trading with your friends in a league. It just feels like an inefficient way to do business.
Yeah, I think, but that's I don't know. That's a big assumption that I think you're making. Like, he made a trade with Joe Shane because, they're friends, but they're also 2 of 32 NFL GMs.
Yeah. Well, it felt like they're such good friends that they were going to make a deal at some point. The friendship was more important than the actual logic of the deal. So we'll see. Actually, I walked away from that episode being like, learning a lot. Brian Burns, like they show all these schlumpy offensive linemen showing up, these free agent signings. Then Brian Burns comes in, he looks like, wow, that guy is going to sack your quarterback.
Yeah, but we all agree here in New York that none of us knew that he was called Spider-Man until this episode. So now we got.
They kept saying the Spider-Man returns to Manhattan.
If you say so.
Yeah. With the what? Now what? He's quite low profile. He's been stuck down there in Carolina.
Yeah, and it's been funny here in New York. Obviously, people here more than anywhere else are focused on this and nitpicking every last detail of these episodes. And I walk away from it thinking that the Giants are in good hands and running things correctly for the most part. And people keep freaking out about John Mara in these episodes, saying things about Saquon Barkley, but Saquon Barkley's not a Giant.
Right.
And Joe Shane won that exchange with Dan Morgan. He said, we're not doing a 7, Dan. They didn't do a 7. So he handled Barkley's situation well. He didn't overpay or keep him because the owner wanted him to. And in a smaller scale, he's like, here's the deal, Dan. I'm not giving you a 7. It's over. And it was over. And they got the deal done. And he's got Brian Burns. And that should be good. Like, I like this. This to me is a good commercial for the way the Giants are run right now.
Right. I didn't think the owner was coming down on the GM at all. I felt like he expressed, ideally I would like to keep Saquon Barkley. I certainly don't want him going to Philadelphia. But I don't think he was saying you're going to be in big trouble. He was empowering Joe Shane to run the team.
Right. And my assumption is there are certain teams where if the owner says that same thing, the GM goes, crap, I got to keep Saquon. But Joe Shane didn't do that.
There's one little, we haven't talked about this one. There was one little line that a few people picked up on. They're in a meeting about something, and Joe Shane says to the coach, Brian Daboll, hey, if we can trade up for Jaden Daniels, are you okay going to Jaden Daniels over Daniel Jones? And Daboll could not have said yes faster, which made me wonder, all that positive stuff, are they happy with their quarterback?
No, they're not. And the next episode is about the draft. So we're going to see
that was in a teaser. Okay.
Yeah, something about trading up for Drake May. Daniel Jones is the deciding factor about this season for the Giants. We've already seen that in their conversations because they've said we need to give him an offensive line, we need to give him a wide receiver, and because we had to pay for the offensive line, it makes paying for Saquon difficult. So Saquon's gone. They bought 2 or 3 offensive linemen. They drafted Malik Neighbors, but they also talked about Jaden Daniels. They made some kind of, we've already heard Shane walk to the Patriots room at the combine and go, just do me the favor of calling me if you're going to do something at number 3 before you do something. And we know they go after May again. So that's another not well-kept secret that we're getting confirmation on, is that they know that Daniel Jones is not trustworthy yet and maybe never will be.
There's another little detail that kind of struck me. There was a line, it got a lot of attention too. These are for real. I'd say serious NFL fans, like, were paying attention to parsing everything they said. They're talking about potential free agents, and Christian Wilkins, former Dolphin, now a Vegas Raider. Whoever was speaking, one of the scouts said, he's not disruptive enough on all 3 downs. He's not good on 3rd down.
Yes.
And I've seen my Twitter timeline was immediately filled with Christian Wilkins absolutely demolishing people on 3rd down. He's one of the top 2 or 3 pass rushers on 3rd down in the entire NFL.
That one was a concern.
Yeah,
that was an issue.
Well, I mean, listen, they didn't have the full context of all these guys. And I was surprised to hear that too, because I thought Christian Wilkins was a great player. And I think that Miami's definitely going to miss that guy, because Miami, everyone's talking about them like their best defensive lineman, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, they're coming off major injuries late in the season. They're both put on the PUP list.
Right.
Like, that was a gigantic loss. And apparently he's not good enough to go to the New York Giants.
Yeah, no, they've had a talent drain since the end of last year. Guys were gone, and then waiting on other guys to come back from injury. Like Miami, yeah.
Yeah, but I just thought, like, New York saying Christian Wilkins isn't quite good enough for us. Maybe they're right. I mean, listen, I'm not a scout, but that one struck me as odd.
They were certainly wrong about that assessment. The only thing maybe you could say in their defense is, because I'm assuming that they make sure that nothing gets in those episodes that's too critical or like too, like about their system.
Yeah.
That maybe all that was left to edit and leave in the show was like an incomplete thought. And that incomplete thought sounded worse than what the full thought is.
Yeah,
but it certainly
that's true.
Seems like they had Christian pegged wrong. Although I don't remember his name coming up a lot around here pre-free agency
he would have been too expensive for them anyway. But luckily for the Giants, they play the AFC North this year, not the AFC West, where Christian Wilkins is, because I'm sure he saw that, and like, why would he take a shrapnel in this stupid offseason show? Yeah. He would murder Daniel Jones if given a chance. Because I thought it was way too negative about a great player. All right, let's get the updates. Dexter Henry, what do you got?
All right, guys. As we were talking about earlier, the global tech outage that appeared to be related to issues at global cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike and Microsoft is affecting operations in many sectors on Friday. We talked about airports, airlines, media, and banks. The outage affected several computers here at our studios.
Dexter, I noticed you're reading off paper.
Yeah.
What are you staring at? There's a computer screen right in front of you.
Usually the people see me looking here.
And that is a black screen, so I'm assuming that's not working.
It's a blue screen, which also is not good. It's not good either. Nobody wants to see the blue screen on a computer. Yeah. So it's affected us here. Got paper today.
Nice.
And we were told that 5 restarts of the computer should make it work. And it did not work on that one.
Did not work on this one. Didn't work on one outside that I was on. 5 restarts did not get that done. But now this has also affected the upcoming Summer Olympic Games. The Paris Olympics Organizing Committee said this morning the impact of the global cyber outage has had effect on its operations was limited. Ticket sales were ineffective. However, accreditation and uniform deliveries have been affected 1 week ahead of the games. Now, keeping it with Olympic news.
Wait, before you leave, though, the outage, do we need to check with our good friend Peter Schwartz? Is the much beleaguered Arena Football League title game, can that happen today in Jersey?
We had Jeff Fisher, the commissioner, on, and to people I was surprised, and Fisher was awesome. I hope it happens now.
I hope so.
Could you imagine if they overcame apparently a delinquent CEO and venue issues that a Microsoft outage prevents them after all these other things from actually playing this game today?
Who knows? They might excel in something like this. They might have the opposite effect on that group because they're playing it. Where I saw the space where they're playing, it is like right in the middle of like a concourse.
There's an Auntie Anne's at the 30-yard line.
Right.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of a concourse.
You get a Cinnabon after you score a touchdown.
The number I heard was 2,000. They want to get 2,000 people to watch that
to accidentally walk by.
Right. If you're going to the M&M store, you can go watch a football game.
It's at American Dream, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. There's not really a Cinnabon at the 30-yard line. I just want to make that clear.
That's a 40-yard line.
Can you confirm that I'm wrong?
Oh, man.
So what you want to do is you want to go to the Justice store, make a left.
We met the owners of the two franchises who are in the final. One's from Billings, Montana. One's from Albany, New York. Could not have been nicer guys. I am all in. I am tuning in at 5 o'clock, technology permitted.
Those were the owners?
Yeah, those guys.
Oh, wow.
One of them was quite young to own a professional sports team.
Oh, that's something. Yeah, for sure.
Be nice, Pete.
At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, though, that's an odd time, right? Wouldn't you say?
All right, let's move on, Dexter.
All right, we're going to keep with
Saying.
Hey, did we check with them? Did they take pocket change or pens yesterday?
Ooh, they have a fan.
You are making light of the rash of in-house theft at Odyssey Inc.
Yeah. Just check with Schwartz.
This is a boomer used pen. I'm taking this.
All right, Dexter, please give us another headline fast.
Zach Gelb touched this fan. I'm going to put it on my bobblehead shelf. Ooh,
desk fans.
Keeping it with Olympic news. And we talked about swimming.
Oh, Peter Thirsty.
Oh, wow, it's a tab.
You guys are relentless.
That actually happened.
All right, keeping it with Olympic news. We talked about swimming earlier today. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo swam in the Seine on Wednesday in an effort to show that the river is clean enough for outdoor swimming events at the Paris Olympics. Hidalgo was seen wearing a wetsuit and goggles in the water of the Paris River. Now, guys, there have been talks over the years about bringing the Olympic Games to New York City. And since we're here in the Big Apple, I got to ask both of you, would you be like the mayor and swim in the East River?
Like Seinfeld, and remember Kramer swam in the East River?
I remember that.
So,
yeah?
I live right by the East River, and there's a lot of activity going on. A lot of people have jet skis, and I know there are swimmers. I would not, because I've also heard I don't let your kids even let their shoe touch that water because it's so toxic.
So, but there's also all these stories now about marine life returning to
the East River
because it's clean.
Yeah, I hate that because where we swim, there's all these sharks now because of the same issue.
Well, that's not the East River though. That's Rockaway.
But it's similar cleanup efforts.
But my thought is I don't want to dive in off the dock on the east side. But if you took me in the middle of where I am assuming the water's a little cleaner, I would jump in real quick and get out.
Okay.
So Midtown-ish area?
No, just put me on a boat, take me out in the middle of the river
and
not
then
where the stuff is all slapping against the shore and sitting there and kind of get me out in fresher, open waters in the middle of the river. I'll jump in real quick there.
So I'm sorry, Dexter, you might not know, are they actually going to do the events that are scheduled for the river in the river? Because I know there was a lot of controversy around that.
There was controversy about that. The plan is to still do
still going inside. That's become the weirdest subplot. The poop in the Seine River is like a gigantic story.
And that's why she did this.
I know.
To say it's okay for humans. I'm going to prove it. This mayor.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Would you guys do that for the people? Would you be here for the people?
No, for the people, no.
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 The funny thing is, New York feels they don't need an Olympics. I mean, I don't think they've ever even
I would leave.
bid.
I mean, what year was it where we were a finalist? And I was prepared to not be here.
Oh, they went up. Was that London? They went up against Oh, so New York did want it. But now it's in L.A. in 28, right?
Yes, correct.
See, L.A. makes more sense. It's more spread out.
Right. No, it was close-ish to being here.
Right.
They were going to use
top
the U.S.
three.
Open and the baseball. Like it was ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done it. The traffic would have been not great.
It would have been terrible.
2-week vacation somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay, what else?
All right, last thing I got. At college football news, move over Drake and Kendrick Lamar. The Lane Kiffin versus Paul Feinbaum beef is heating up. So this offseason, Feinbaum, the host of the Paul Feinbaum Show, he's taking some jabs at the Ole Miss head coach, including famously calling him the Miley Cyrus of college football. Kiffin was a guest on Feinbaum's show this week, and he made sure to remind the host how he helped end his head coaching career at USC. Now, Kiffin, for those who don't know, was fired just hours after Feinbaum's Miley Cyrus comments, and after Feinbaum attempted to cool the situation by pointing out all the good that's happened for Kiffin since his firing, the Ole Miss head coach clapped back. He said this, "Really? I don't really know what you're good at. Like, you predicted that Coach Saban was done. That didn't happen. You basically said Miley Cyrus stinks, and she's still going." Guys, are we here for Coach Kiffin keeping the receipts and trolling Feinbaum on his own show? Are we here for this?
I'm 100% here for it. And the fact that Ole Miss is stacked this year and how cocky Lane was hysterical. I thought it was one of the funniest things. And Feinbaum, to his credit, just sat there and didn't try and fight back. He's like, "Yep, you got me."
He rolled with it. I liked it.
And Miley Cyrus, that is funny. That Lane Kiffin is rubbing Miley Cyrus into Paul Feinbaum.
What's wrong with Miley Cyrus in the first place?
Wait, what's that, right?
What's wrong with Miley Cyrus? She's got some good music.
She does. She's talented.
It's so funny because when he said this, Miley Cyrus was a bit of a mess. Remember, she had that sort of erratic phase. It's where she was like a young phenom who looked like she was flaming out.
Like 12 years ago?
No, it was not that long ago. Remember? She was like a young kid, and then she got a little wild, and everyone thought she was flaming out. Lane Kiffin was the youngest NFL coach. Everyone thought he was flaming out, and now he's back. Miley Cyrus is back, as Lane pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't remember when Miley Cyrus was a mess?
I do. It was like 2013.
Was it that long? Oh, my God.
It was like, it was Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
That was 11 years ago that Miley Cyrus?
Close to it.
How old were you 11 years ago?
Me? 22. No, 12. 11. 12. Math.
That's really funny. Anyway.
Which part?
I don't know. If Lane,
I was 28.
If Lane Kiffin won a national title, which is theory, I mean, it's going to be tough, but if he did that, it would just be a 6-month-long retribution tour for everybody who ever said anything mean about Lane Kiffin.
And not that I'm a Lane Kiffin guy or anti-Paul Feinbaum, but I would love it. Like, give me Lane as the champ. Look out.
We had an argument about who's the face of college football coaches, kind of taking Deion Sanders out of that, but like the national title contending coaches, because Kirby Smart is on the top of the mountain right now, but nobody knows Kirby Smart. Lane Kiffin doing well, he would be sort of filling that Jim Harbaugh, Nick Saban vacuum a little bit.
And he would do it all on a projector, too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the guy who's fired outside the plane definitely had some wild times at USC. It's fun for college football, and this was great. It's not quite Kendrick Lamar Drake, though.
No,
I don't think that really.
I was pushing a little bit there.
Yeah, that would be fun for college football. Thank you, Dexter. All right, coming up. Did anyone else here get attacked by Barstool Sports yesterday besides me? We'll discuss. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie, who's trying to travel. It's been difficult with the technical outage, apparently. If you go to her Twitter, at Maggie Gray, you can see a picture of about 1,000 suitcases lined up at the airport that are not on planes. That's not good. I've had a bit of an issue this week, Andrew Bogus. It's been...
Only one?
Been a little rough. I write a weekly column for Athlon Sports. And... usually I get a little bit of pushback. I try and go against the grain, a little contrarian. I wrote this week that I don't want to see Bill Belichick in the media because he's been a jerk to the media for 20 years, grumbled into the mic for 2 decades, and now we're going to pay him to talk. I just have a little bit of problem. Is he going to be insightful? Yes. Is he brilliant? Of course. Is he the greatest coach ever? Arguably, yes. All that's true. But just the fact that we're all just going to worship him now bothered me. Anyway, I got a lot of hate mail from Patriots fans, and then somehow it went a little viral. Then yesterday, I'm getting all these tweets I'm like, oh boy, what's going on now? I guess Barstool decided that they were going to go after me. Barstool has a bit of a Boston edge to it. Here is the title of the Barstool blog. The audacity of this journo calling Bill Belichick a hypocrite for taking media jobs knows no bounds. The audacity. Yeah, I was a little nervous when I saw that. They didn't take a lot of personal shots at me, but they did say that I'm an idiot, that this is whining. Forgive me, that wasn't just me to imply I'm bored with this guy. Reading this drivel actually did put me to sleep, and my nose landed on the Z key. Get a load of this pretzel logic and work here. I'm not saying you have to be nice or open to reporters in order to work in television until he literally is saying that. That is true. But there are other people who were not nice to the media, like probably young people don't know this, but Sterling Sharp, Shannon Sharp's brother, was on NFL Network forever. He would not do interviews after the game. Just shut it down.
Yes.
Never talk to anybody. Then he would not shut up once he got on air. There are a lot of guys who, and for some reason, Belichick particularly bothers me. The other thing, too, is you're not going to get anything out of Bill Belichick. That's my big issue. If he's finally ever going to tell me why he sat Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl, then maybe we can talk. But Bill Belichick is the most manipulative, detail-driven guy. Like, everything he says is going to have an angle. He wants to coach next year. This is going to be one giant experiment of how he can manipulate this platform to get a coaching job. He's already kind of working on it. So if he rips a guy, it's going to be because he wants that coach's job. If he praises a guy, it's because he wants to play with him next year. Like, what are we doing here? We're just going to sit and get manipulated by Bill Belichick some more, like we're the Ravens defensive coordinator? This is ridiculous. I'm not going to sit here and run to a friend and say, oh, did you hear what Bill Belichick said about Daniel Jones? Get out of here. Yeah, we know you want to coach the Giants.
This is the tale as old as time. This always happens. Guys are jerks to the media, and then they don't have a job. They go, oh, I'll talk on TV. That happens all the time.
Yes, but Bill Belichick is an extreme example. You have to admit, nobody has been less cooperative with the media than Bill Belichick.
But this was destined to happen. Unless he died while still coaching, he was going to stop coaching and go on a TV set.
Do you find him as a person pleasant to listen to?
Whatever NFL he won an Emmy for, he was very good on that show.
Everyone says that.
Like everyone else, I have friends that know him that say he's great by, when he's not being Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So I take their word for it. I have heard him be funny once or twice when I used to work at Sirius and he would come on. There was a wry, sarcastic one-liner or two that made me think there was an actual person inside all of that. So I think it's out there. I'm just laughing because this post, who calls you this journo, was written by a guy named Jerry Thornton, and the little thumbnail picture does not look like a traditional Barstool employee. He seems to be over 30. So I clicked on it, and the thumbnail picture now of your article, your takedown, is Belichick looking actually kind of buff on us in sideline gear, and then you're eating peanut butter.
Yeah, I know that was the takeaway. Jerry Thornton writes a lot of blogs for Barstool, and by the way, what he wrote was actually not that mean at all. I understand his points. Like, yeah, I mean, the reality is if we didn't have players or coaches who didn't cooperate with the media there'd be nobody to really talk to.
Yeah,
but I'm feeling some rambling. There are some famous people who have worked with Bill Belichick who are not happy with this and probably are going to hold this against me in the future. I'm already do not love running amok with Pat McAfee and all his fans. It's not something I look forward to. Friends with Rich Eisen. I'm sure they all like working with Belichick. I understand that. It's just that this particular guy got under my skin because it's Bill Belichick. How come I'm the only one who's bothered by Bill Belichick? He's a great coach. I'm not lying. He's just kind of a jerk.
Yeah, no, he's been a jerk to people, and I will not understand why he couldn't have been less of a jerk on a Wednesday afternoon.
Fake it like every other coach. There
right.
are 31 other coaches like, listen, that game was last week. I want to really focus on next week. He's like, on to Cincinnati.
Yeah. Again, he sucked. A lot of times he sucked, but this was always going to happen, and he's going to be good. And your boy Jimmy Traina, who's coming on next hour, is going to write articles, do podcasts, fawning over Bill Belichick on TV.
I know. It's not ideal, but I wish Jimmy. We'll talk to Jimmy next hour. I'm going to tell him to be more critical. Nick Saban, everyone's going. I mean, Nick Saban showed up at SC Media Day was more important than any actual coach. So you're right. Okay, so we have a lot of actually TV talk in the next hour. Sports TV talk, future of the NBA contract. But more importantly, media writers want to get in and weigh in on our sitcom bracket. We're down to the Sweet 16. There's controversy everywhere. We're going to talk to people who have strong opinions on that next, right here on the Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. So, watching the British Open in the background. Shane Lowry at -5 is actually leading now. Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie Gray today. Daniel Brown, who was tied with him, felt the course is winning again today. It was supposed to get a little better. We will break that down more later in the hour. More important things first. Our sitcom bracket, the Maggie and Perloff Show effort to crown the best sitcom in television history. We're down to the Sweet 16. Now, let me let you in the process a little bit here, Andrew Bogus. There was a 3-person committee to have the seating. I came out and said we should just take Rolling Stone's list of top 100 sitcoms and use that to do the seating. EJ said they don't know what they're talking about. Maggie said they don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, okay, so we'll do our own committee. So I did a list, and I called a professional, a friend of mine, Joe Flint, Wall Street Journal, television reporter. He's in Hollywood, knows the industry, is a big fan of sitcoms. I sent him my list. He actually said, okay, I'm going to put it in a Google Doc, has hundreds of words commenting on the seating, and he had brilliant insight all over the place. Everything that people have complained about, Joe absolutely nailed. And of course, because he's a professional at this, unlike me, Maggie, and EJ, Joe is joining us now. Joe, have you gotten a chance to look at the Sweet 16 in our sitcom bracket?
I believe I'm looking at it right now. Yes.
And are you surprised of who has advanced and who has not advanced?
I am. Some of these. I'm trying to think of the appropriate analogy to the March Madness team that comes out of nowhere to make it to the Sweet 16 or Final Four. I'm sort of looking at the Jeffersons and thinking, really?
That's what the Jeffersons is killing it. Everyone is voting for the Jeffersons, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it, but I was just surprised, and I'm, as usual, more surprised by what I'm not seeing. It's early in the morning here. Forgive me, I've blown this up. I'm drinking my coffee and looking at it, but then looking at the Google Notes you just kindly mentioned, and I am wondering, again, like, what the heck? Where's Mary Tyler Moore?
Got killed.
I'm missing that. Yeah, I'm just surprised, and obviously, who knows if you did it again today? Maybe Bob Newhart would get a little love.
Yeah.
But it's so hard. It is very hard, and what this list shows and what you sent me shows too. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder cliche, and a lot of people love The Simpsons, and I would never take anything away from the brilliance of The Simpsons and the impact it's had. But as I mentioned to you in that note, I just feel its longevity has hurt it in a way. I just don't feel like I feel like if ever there was one that maybe after 10 or 12 years should have said, okay, we're out of here, it's that one. But that's me. I just don't feel like I feel like the longer it goes on, the more you see the gap between what I consider the great first decade, we'll say, and everything that's followed. But Seinfeld, Cheers, MASH, it's really hard to argue against those three.
The classics.
Rising up. Yeah.
Now, Joe, your friend Andrew has, since we started this, he keeps saying that his bracket was the best suggestion, that it was better than what we ended up with because of the intervention of EJ, our producer, and the co-host Maggie Gray.
EJ is the one who insisted Family Matters be in there, just so you get an idea, Joe.
But Joe, I need you, since I think Andrew was using your opinion as his support. Did you actually like his initial suggestion as much as he seems to think you did?
Well, I there were some things I took some issue with. Again, I go against against the grain there. With regards to Friends, a fine show that I think his sort of been elevated, that's been punching above its weight for the last several years, thanks to Netflix and the rebirth and everything. Again, some of it comes down to taste. I think some of these are fine shows, but the 70s show is another one I'm surprised to see moving up as far as it has. And then there's the other problem, too, with some shows that, are they comedies or not? We just had the Emmy nominations. The Bear got 23 nominations for Best Comedy. I do a lot of things when I watch The Bear, but laughing usually isn't
right.
So I really like Atlanta. It's innovative, and I guess it's a comedy. But I'm just sort of, I'm not sure if there needs to be almost a second category for those sorts of shows that don't fit into any box.
And along those lines, Joe, this singular question almost broke the show up. Is Saved by the Bell a sitcom?
I don't know. I think I always viewed Saved by the Bell as a very long public service announcement.
Exactly. We're talking to Joe Flint, Wall Street Journal. Okay, just real quick to wrap up the sitcoms, I'm going to give you some matchups. You tell me. I'll just do the Sweet 16. You tell me who you think looks really dangerous. We have 1 Simpsons against 4 Jefferson. That should be Simpsons. Then 14 Family Guy against 2 The Office. Are you aware of the Family Guy cult out there? Do you think Family Guy has a chance?
Well, I was not aware, but if there is a strong cult, maybe. I would think The Office has become so popular that look, that should be easy, slam dunk win for The Office. But who can account for the everlasting charms of Steve Urkel?
No, not Family Matters, Family Guy.
Family Guy, my bad. Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, me neither.
And you know what I think helps Family Guy? I don't know about you guys, but I go on Instagram all the time and I watch these Family Guy clips that clearly I don't think ever actually aired on the show because they're even over the top for that show. But that is a show, too, that I think has just, because it's so topical and so current, it has, really sustained itself. So my apologies to Seth MacFarlane for confusing him with Family Matters. My bad.
We have a dangerous 11 seed, Married with Children, which goes up against Friends. There are a lot of people who think Married with Children could move up.
I always thought that Married with Children was an underappreciated show in the sense that it really was. It was a groundbreaking show at the time. I mean, primarily because it was rude, it was raunchy, but it also, if you cut underneath it in the same way as Roseanne, what was it also about? It was kind of about a struggling, working class person and their frustrations with the modern world. Now, obviously, Roseanne went a lot deeper and really dealt with some issues, whereas Married with Children just kind of looked for the joke all the time. But it wouldn't surprise me. And you look at, here's the other thing. I mean, I know no one thinks about this really when you're judging these things, and you shouldn't because you're just looking at the show. Look at most of the cast of Married with Children. They've gone on to do some really good things.
Definitely.
Ed O'Neill, Family Guy. I mean, I'm having
Modern
this early
Family, right.
morning. You caught me here.
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Katie Seagal, singer, Christina Applegate.
Katie Seagal, Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Christina Applegate with the Netflix, Dead to Me. I mean, they've had really good post careers too, which I don't know. I don't know if you should factor that in or not, but that was a very talented cast.
Okay, last matchup. I want your opinion on Curb Your Enthusiasm versus It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, you're in L.A., you're in the TV business. Is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that holds a special place to a certain group? Like, I'm from Philadelphia. But is that a popular show out there in Hollywood? Because I don't know if the public is as into it, like it has big ratings or anything like that.
Well, it certainly is a popular show in general. I mean, again, talk about longevity. It's becoming one of the longest running sitcoms of all time. And I would just, I know, I'm not, look, I loved Curb. I really felt the last 3 seasons of Curb were not very good, to be honest. I thought that Larry David's character went from being someone who annoying things happen to someone who creates annoying incidents. And he sort of began to lose his charm to me as someone who's sort of befuddled with what happens to him versus someone who goes out and just seems to create anarchy for the sake of anarchy. And the sporadicness. I mean, obviously, Always Sunny's very, very consistent every year. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Well, we're taking a decade off and then we'll be back. So I don't know. In Hollywood, if you took this survey to your point, I think Curb would win in a runaway. But I think if you did it, a nationwide vote, not the electoral vote, but the popular vote, I think Always Sunny would probably win.
All right. I'm looking at the notes you sent me. Bogus, you'll love this. Joe had a lot of notes. We had Alf was a 16 seed at first. Joe, you wrote, I think Alf can be cut. Who talks about Alf nowadays? You don't go around talking about episodes of Alf?
I really don't, unless Alf appears in some very dark nightmares.
Award-winning journalist commenting on. I'm making you comment on Alf. I love it. Hey, a quick sports media question. Bill Belichick has gotten a number of sort of smaller gigs. I wrote a column ripping him, saying I don't want to see Bill Belichick all of a sudden, after years of being mean to the media, all of a sudden be part of the media. Do I have a leg to stand on in this argument to say that he's being a bit hypocritical to now embrace his role in the media?
Well, I admit I'd much rather watch a dating show from Belichick. But I hear what you're saying, and it is funny. I mean, we've always heard for years and years that, Bill, off camera and practice, Bill Belichick's the funniest guy in the world, really, really great, fun guy, when all we ever got was on to Cincinnati and next question. But that said, look, I think he will be, from what I've seen so far, he has the potential to be good. So I guess I'm a little bit willing to forgive, and hopefully if he does get more comfortable with it, maybe he'll talk more about why he was the way he was with the media. But I do understand the irony of a guy who pretty much disdained an industry for decades, now looking to cash in from it.
You're a Washington football fan, right, Joe?
Long suffering. Yeah.
You know who? Did I ever tell you about when Joe Gibbs yelled at me?
No.
Talking about a guy who was
to get Joe Gibbs mad? I mean,
hi. I met him at a game. It was actually an Ohio State game of all things. I think he's friends with somebody. I said, "Hi, Mr. Gibbs, our coach. I work on the Dan Patrick Show," and he looks at me, grumbles, and says, "You guys don't talk about enough NASCAR," and then turned away.
Oh, that would do it. Yes.
I was like, wow. And you beat my team for 20 years, and now you're not being nice to me. So it's and I don't think Joe Gibbs, he never was good as a broadcaster, right? Did he do it?
No. He did try it a little stint and was not good. I mean, Joe Montana wasn't great in the booth. I mean, there's been a lot of people who step in and then they can't do the thing where they have to be critical. And they can't hold back, and that becomes tough. And that's why I'm going to be curious about, Brady. He's going to be able to go there or not. Certainly, the Apple, series. I thought he showed real personality there, and of course during the roast. But we'll see if in fact he ever ends up in the booth. What did I see now? He might want to go play it down in Canadian Football League or something.
Wait, what?
I swear I saw it on X, so I don't take it seriously. But yes, someone suggested that maybe he just wants to go at least play one down in the CFL.
No, thank you. Joe, if I could just go back to the original part of the conversation about sitcoms and whatnot, because we also spent time this week about like the state of sitcoms, right? Like where are the edgy ones? Where are the ones pushing the boundaries? Where, if anywhere, are those shows these days right now in your estimation? Or what shows are out there?
I think you have to most of them are going to be on the streaming services, whether it's the Hulu, Netflix. I mean, the sitcom business has always been very, very tough. Versus, we've seen what's happened to dramas in network TV. There's a formula, you stick to it. It's the FBI in this town, it's the fire department in that town, it's a hospital in this town. But comedy is obviously much more challenging. So I think that's why you do see the bigger risk being taken on a Netflix or a Hulu. But that's also why the bar has gotten so wide for what's a comedy. I don't mean to pick on The Bear. I think The Bear's a great show. I just think of it more as a drama. I'm a huge fan of the show Slow Horses on Apple TV.
Oh, that show's so good.
More laughs in Slow Horses than The Bear.
That's true.
Comedy.
How about The Boys on it? We were talking about The Boys on Amazon. It's disgusting, terrible, but that's a comedy. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's certainly that's it has its fair amount of laughs for all the mayhem going on around it. But that's sort of. But I do think the more innovative comedies are on the streaming services. I mean, I'm not taking anything away. Abbott Elementary obviously broke through on broadcast TV and is more of what I would call the traditional vein. But otherwise, I just think the streaming services where they're not asking someone to write 24 episodes a season also lends itself to more, a better product.
All right, Joe, thank you for your help with this. I'm trying to educate people here. I will let you get back to Instagram videos of Stewie making fun of people. I guess he's fake Family Guy videos, which I am going to look up right after the show is over. So, Joe, appreciate the time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
That is really interesting stuff. That's Joe Flint, Wall Street Journal. Really fun. You know what? This sitcom bracket, it's just making everybody mad. But we got to also get back to that ESPN.com list of top 100 athletes since 2000, because that also makes me mad. Feel like that committee process was flawed, just like ours. I mean, kind of like the fact that we put kid shows like Saved by the Bell in our bracket. I mean, ESPN did their version of that. We'll talk about that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. You can watch me and Andrew Bogus, who's sitting in for Maggie, on the Infinity Sports Network YouTube page. We look average at best. No, we're doing good. Or you can listen to us on
I
many
think average at
affiliates.
best was fair.
Yeah, it's weird. We're not really sure what's happening out there in the world. There's a gigantic technical outage. Hopefully you're hearing us on one of our many, many affiliates. I was on in Boise yesterday, Bogus, your territory. I know you love them.
Love it.
They like to make fun of me because I once spent 2 weeks out in Elk City, Idaho. It's my favorite place in the world. Population 179. No one fit in less than me. It is an incredible, beautiful place. Kind of wish I was there today.
I know what you're saying. Because you go to Boise and like everyone's like half cowboy and not like, and it's like I can't do anything outdoors. Like I don't need to be on a river and I can't catch a fish.
No.
I'm not going to shoot anything. It's beautiful, but it's not. I'm not the target audience of what Boise has to offer for the most part.
No, it is so beautiful though. But anybody can enjoy it. I love that.
But I'd have to learn all of their entertainment value because I don't ski, I don't hunt, I don't fish. They do have hockey and obviously great football.
Oh my God, they have a million things to do. There's a big art scene. There's a big music scene.
I mean the down and the great restaurants, but like the outdoorsy stuff, that's not my specialty.
I'm obsessed with this survivalist show called Alone on the History Channel. There was a new episode last night. Wow, this guy killed a moose and he had to preserve the meat and it was still too warm to keep it outside. And a mink got into his meat cache and ate the whole thing, and he had to fight off the mink with just like a rock. And I was thinking I would survive 4 hours out there. They do about 300 days.
So I like speed watched the first like 3+ seasons of that.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
It's amazing.
But the fact that people still show up and then go home on the first day was mind-blowing to me. And then it got weird because people knew the first season was the best, in my estimation.
The guy afraid of the bear, yeah.
But like it's just people didn't know what to do. Then people showed up having watched the show.
Yeah.
It's like all my stupid Bravo shows. Like the first season of Below Deck is the best one because no one's doing it for TV yet.
Right.
And as it goes on, people know they're supposed to act like this. They're supposed to be jerks. They're supposed to not be jerks. They're supposed to date their coworkers or not. These guys know I need to have this. I need to have that. So like when you show up prepared for it, it like changed the dynamic of the show to me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, we've had a lot of TV talk. Can we get a few sports in here? Dexter Henry.
Yeah, I got a couple things. Although I want to check that out.
Yeah,
that sounds good. I got to check that out.
It's very fun. Give us some sports though.
Kevin Durant ramping up, I should say, not warming up to play with Team USA. And according to the Athletic Shams Charania, Durant is expected to return to Team USA practice today in London. It'll be KD's first practice with this Olympic team. Now, Durant has been sidelined with a strained calf, could make his debut in the upcoming exhibition games, either versus South Sudan on Saturday or Germany on Monday. College football news. Bobby Petrino is back with Arkansas, this time as an offensive coordinator. And on Thursday, Razorbacks head coach Sam Pittman said that he knew hiring Petrino would be controversial for a number of reasons, but he believes bringing back the former Arkansas head coach was best for the program. Now, college football fans, they'll recall prior to the 2012 season, Petrino was fired in wake of a scandal after misleading his bosses about an affair he was having with a female staffer whom he had hired. Petrino, popular with the fans in Arkansas when he coached from 2008 to 2011, led the Hogs to 21 wins, top 15 finishes in his last two seasons. We know they're coming off a season where they struggled 4-8 last season. Pittman says that he knows that the talk around Petrino will be that he's on the hot seat and the narrative that Petrino could take his job if he was to struggle. So I ask you guys, was this the right move in hiring Petrino, or did it just make the seat hotter for Pittman?
Well, right or wrong, there is really nothing you can do that someday you won't get back into college football. This is, I mean, I was so not surprised. I would have told you, it seemed bad.
What took so long?
It seemed bad for Petrino, but I've seen so many of these scandals where guys get back.
But it's weird to go back to where it happened, right?
Scene of the crime?
Yeah.
I hear you.
Imagine the Dolphins wouldn't have hired Nick Saban again.
Right.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess what you're saying, but this is
obviously
a little
different.
Petrino's a good. I mean, listen, I get the hire by Pittman. I didn't really think as much about the hot seat part because that is legit. He is under some pressure.
Yeah,
but I would hope that Petrino would be a good enough coach. If the offense does well, then Pittman should keep his job.
Right.
So I think he needed to take a risk here. It's hard to compete in the SEC.
Yeah.
I get it. I would have taken this risk because I think the hot seat was going to be there one way or the other. At least maybe Petrino gets the offense going. So I'm okay with it.
All right. Okay with that. According to federal records, reigning NFL MVP Lamar Jackson, he's challenging Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman's use of their shared number 8 in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office complaint. Now, Jackson, who owns or has applied for several trademarks using the number in various phrases, says Aikman's attempt to use 8 on apparel and bags would be likely to cause confusion or cause mistake or to deceive the purchasing public as to whether they're buying products from Jackson or Aikman's company. Now, through his attorney, the Ravens quarterbacks filed 2 appeals. I will not bore people with the legal details of that, but made me think about this, guys, because when you think of the number 8, do you think of Aikman or Jackson, or is there another athlete that first comes to mind when you think of the number 8?
Well, for me, I think of Gary Carter because he's my favorite player growing up. But
Really?
That's a niche answer. I think this is the dumbest fight I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And we live in dumb fights. This is over the number 8.
Yes.
It
over the
doesn't
number 8.
seem fair that you could trademark number 8.
Agreed.
Can I trademark the word from? I mean, what the heck is going on here?
You can trademark sense. You can trademark a lot of different things.
It's idiotic. Actually, I'm not great with numbers, but a couple. Here are the Hall of
8
Fame.
comes before 9 after 7.
Here are which player wore which number? Jerk. Andrew Bogusch in for Maggie. Okay, here are the Hall of Famers with number 8. Troy Aikman.
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
8, 9. Ray Guy. I don't think of Ray Guy. Larry Wilson, former Cardinals DB, right? I think. I don't think him. Steve Young. No, that's a big number 8.
Yeah.
Do you think of him in football just before you think of Aikman or Jackson?
He's a better player than Aikman, and he's probably a little better than Jackson, to be honest with you. So I think you got an argument he's a greater Hall of Famer. I think Lamar will make the Hall of Fame. 2-time MVP, but Steve Young won the Super Bowl. And if Lamar never wins the Super Bowl, he'll never pass him. That's fair, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
The other 2 Hall of Famers, I did not know. Morton Anderson. You definitely don't think of him as number 8. Longtime kicker. And Tommy McDonald. Tommy McDonald, I believe, was an Eagles wide receiver.
So you're just looking at football, correct?
This is right.
Okay.
I'm just talking about football.
Gotcha.
Baseball, did the great Yankees get up to number 8? I would always think low numbers.
Well,
I think
in baseball,
Yankees.
I think Cal Ripken. That's the first person that comes to mind.
Yogi was 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Cal Ripken was 8? Okay.
Yeah, Cal Ripken was 8.
Kyle Bowler, number 8 as a Raven.
He was number 9, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle Bowler, how did he get in this
I don't
conversation?
know. That just happened in my head. I guess where there's like room for Lamar to be angry about this is if he has a weird 8 logo that's specific to him that Troy is too close to. But I don't know how like you said, I don't know how can you own the number 8 and its usages on like a duffel bag or a sweatshirt or a hat.
Right. And
I don't get it.
The one thing I had here is because Aikman is listed as one of the directors of FL 101, the owner of 9 trademark applications for the use of 8 on a variety of consumer products: beer, beach towels, energy drinks, also bags and some other stuff as well too. So, yeah, I just think it's interesting. You said, what did you say? You called it a dumb fight?
Oh, it was dumb.
A dumb fight?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, it's totally dumb.
Yeah, I don't think many people are thinking about 8 in the back.
Actually, we have time for one more quick one. Then we have our guest, Jimmy Traina from Sports Illustrated, coming on.
I am out, unfortunately.
Oh.
So, unless you want to talk about 8 anymore.
All right, then that means it's time to get back to dumb lists and sitcoms. And when I think of dumb lists and sitcoms, one of the first names I think of is my good friend, writer for Sports Illustrated, host of the SI Media podcast, Jimmy Traina. Jimmy, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I want to start, before we get into my sitcom list, the ESPN.com top 100 list. Now, you and I used to be in the same office, and we would throw around dumb opinions. But if I came in one morning and say Michael Phelps is the greatest athlete of the last 24 years, you would have told me I was an idiot, right? Are you buying this Michael Phelps number 1 on ESPN's list?
Well, all right. So, first of all, I'm never going to forgive you for making me click on this list and giving ESPN a page view for this.
All right, you win already.
And if you remember when we did work together back in the SI office days, we were always amazed that anytime you power rank something, it automatically got big traffic. And if you remember, we would always say, rank it and bank it, rank it and bank it.
Of course. Of course.
At the end of the day, I mean, this is such a stupid list. It's kind of mind-boggling.
What do you think the incentive of the list? How did this list become so random that they're all like Aaron Rodgers is 91? There's a lot of WNBA players on there. Michael Phelps, who on most lists I think ends up below Serena and Tiger Woods and Brady. How do you do you think they were intentionally doing this to stir the pot?
I think you're giving them way too credit. Here's how it went down, okay? Because I've worked for a .com for 20 years. It's the All-Star break. There's no sports going on for 4 days. We need content. Let's just make up a list. That's what happened. And here we are with people talking about this ridiculous list.
Yeah. Well,
I love how they said, like, at the beginning, they're like, it's from the 2000s on, from the year 2000 on. So keep that in mind with, like, Barry Bonds, who had his best years before that, but then he was on the list. And then the list is, like, riddled with all the steroid guys. So, the whole thing was comical.
Well, Sports Talk Radio, Andrew Bogus is sitting in for Maggie today. Sports Talk Radio is the same way, it's not like we have a lot of sports talk about. Why do you think we're doing this list, Jimmy?
Right. But
we've been doing it for 3.5 hours, Jimmy. You're our second guest on the list.
I'm criticizing them, but we all do it. I mean, I was going to do a list of, like, the top 10 NFL broadcasters a couple of days ago because I had nothing to write. So we all do it.
Yeah.
I would hope we try to make it a little bit better than this list.
One thing I can guarantee, if you write that, I will be the first person to click on it. In fact,
I know.
You have to write that. Where's Belichick on your list? That's been a big topic today. Is Bill Belichick going to be a good broadcaster?
Haven't you had enough of Bill Belichick this week? Are you in enough trouble?
I would say it's one thing that
journo.
You know that there are people in our industry who are going to hold this against me for years to come.
But you're proof of everything I just said. Slow week, no sports going on, middle of summer, football's not here yet. Oh, this guy writes a column about Bill Belichick can't be a broadcaster, and every website in America picked it up. Good for you.
Yeah, the timing was good, except that you have to remember there are real people in this industry who work with Bill Belichick who do not like that kind of criticism. But why am I the only one? I feel like I did not get a good reception. Like, this guy's been a jerk to the media for 20 years, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in the media, but he's been particularly obnoxious.
Well, but I think that's part of his job as a coach is to make sure the media is not a distraction.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't really, I mean, listen, is being on Inside the NFL really being part of the media?
And weekly on the McAfee and also on the Manning cast.
he's not going to criticize one person.
No, because he wants a job.
Right, exactly. So I don't really count him as part of the media. He's a sports personality. I would couch it that way.
Jimmy, you interview some big names on your media podcast. Do you think you'll get Belichick? Are you going to put in a request for him?
I will put in the request. I highly doubt he's going to do it, but you never know.
How about Saban? Have you talked to ESPN about maybe getting him? Because he really is a part of the media now.
I have to say, maybe it's because I'm a New Yorker. I don't have like the Nick Saban get on my knees, bow down, and genuflect type of thing for Nick Saban, and I can't really say I have any desire to interview him. I mean, I kind of think he's a jerk, but so I don't really like to interview jerks. So I don't feel that way about Belichick, which is bizarre. But I had never seen Belichick like hit a player on the sideline because he was angry, like I've seen Saban do. So I'm just not into Nick Saban at all.
Well, along those lines, while Perloff writes about Belichick, I'd write about Saban because I can't deal with this hokey, he's never seen a computer before, he just sent his first text. Like, I need, he can be good on TV, tremendous coach, obviously. They're going to name the field after him at Alabama, but I need to stop being told that he just discovered, like, 1989 technology.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just, to me, he's a bizarre human being. When I see someone go crazy like that on the sidelines, I'm like, really? It's not, that important. But
Jimmy, talking to Jimmy Traina, Sports Illustrated, you interviewed Tom Brady. I know it wasn't a full-length interview. What was your impression? I know you have interviewed your heroes before. It seemed like, I listened to it, like, Tom seems kind of like a cool guy, like easy to work with. What's your sense so far in just your limited time talking to him?
Yeah, I don't understand any of the negativity towards Tom Brady because we saw that once he got out of New England. He does have a very good personality. I've never heard a bad word about Tom Brady as a person. His teammates love him. I think he's going to be a great broadcaster because I think if you're the greatest player who's ever played or the greatest quarterback who's ever played, you're seeing things that no other person sees. And if he can bring that across to the viewer, that's going to be a really good viewing experience. So I'm looking forward to him in the booth. I think he's going to be good in the booth. I interviewed him once before in person, but this was like 100 years ago when I was doing Hot Clicks. He couldn't have been nicer. I mean, nicer to me than, C-list athletes. So I get people don't like Tom Brady because he's had so much success and he's beaten every team. If you're a fan of any other team but the Patriots, he's destroyed your team for 20 years. So I get the hatred of him from that standpoint. But from a personality standpoint, where's the negativity? Like, where is he a bad guy? Where is he? I think we see nothing but positives out of Tom Brady from a personality standpoint.
Do you think he'll be there for the entirety of that contract, or does he get disinterested, something else pops up? What do you think his long-term future is?
I think it's really, really hard to say someone's going to be there for the entirety of a 10-year contract. I mean, so many things can happen. I don't see him, like, going into coaching. He's got this weird, bizarre ownership thing with the Raiders. Who knows what that's about? But listen, I think he's going to be really, really good. I don't know him enough personally, what his, personal life is like to say, like, yeah, he's doing this for 10 years. But, 10 years is a really long time. So I would say no if I had to pick yes or no on that.
Talking to Jimmy Traina, Sports Illustrated media reporter. Okay, Jimmy, I know you have a lot of opinions on television. I sent you over our Sweet 16 of the Maggie and Perloff Show sitcom bracket. We still have all the number one seeds alive. Seinfeld, MASH, Simpsons, Cheers. We got Friends going against Married with Children. We got The Office going against Family Guy. What is your favorite sitcom and who do you like?
Okay, so I have a lot to say about this list.
Okay.
I think you guys did a really good job with the field. I didn't see too many. I saw maybe a handful on there. I was like, this should not be in the field. So from that standpoint, great job. You left out one of the best sitcoms of all time, though.
What's that?
The Larry Sanders Show.
Oh,
did I miss it? I didn't see it on the list, I don't think.
I was furious. So it was a 3-person committee. I had it as a 5 seed, and honestly, I would put it. It's one of my top 5 shows of all time. I didn't understand. I just could not convince Maggie and EJ that it was a great show, and I to this day, I have no idea why.
Right. So I understand what the popularity is in America as a country, Friends isn't even on the same level as the Larry Sanders Show when it comes to a television show. Friends is Friends as a 2-seed made me want to vomit. I mean,
but it's popular. We did count that.
Right. Well, if you're going by popularity, a 2-seed is more than fair. But I don't understand how you give Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is my favorite, which would be my number one, a 6-seed.
What? So you take Curb over Seinfeld?
Well, Seinfeld would be my number 2.
Yeah, I knew you liked that. Cheers, any of the old shows? Cheers, All in the Family.
Love Cheers. The criminally underrated show, you had it at a 12-seed, which probably might be fair, but it's a criminally underrated show, is Taxi. Taxi, for me, is a top 10 sitcom of all time.
Well, Jimmy, you need to be best friends with our producer, Pete, because he wanted Larry Sanders and he wanted Taxi, so he's back there basically swooning over your picture right now.
Yeah, Pete can come on my podcast anytime because
don't get carried away, Jimmy.
Yeah.
That to me is a smart TV viewer right there. And no, I mean, if I'm being honest, complete disrespect of the Honeymooners. This is like a top 5 show of all time, and you have it at 14.
You guys are soulmates. Wait, Jimmy, what are your thoughts on Alf being in this bracket?
Well, should not be in the bracket.
Okay, fine. All right. So there's the one thing. He's not your perfect soulmate, Pete, but 3 out of 4 is not bad.
With the ones that were left off, Alf should be out of there.
Jimmy, I don't know if you've ever met people, Lottie. Pete, where are you from originally?
On Long Island.
Yeah, Jimmy's from Long Island. Yeah, you guys have the same source material.
I mean, if you're taking it, I understand age is a factor in all this and generational, but like Lucy and the Honeymooners have to be 1, 2, or 3 seeds. Just if you're going off of and MASH, I guess MASH, most watched sitcom of all time with the finale.
Yeah.
But those were basically my notes on the list. And I hate America for thinking Friends is like a top 5 sitcom of all time. I can name 50 sitcoms better than Friends.
What did you think? The big debate was, should Saved by the Bell be on the list? And I think you were a fan of Saved by the Bell.
It absolutely should be on the list.
But it's a kid show. It's the morning for most of us.
You just told me Alf is on the list.
It's not. Alf did not make the list.
Pete wanted it on the list.
It's a kid's show. I don't know. Did you have Boy Meets World on the list?
I know. I don't think any of those shows should be like one show that was left.
I want to know the logic of Curb being a 6-seed. That's the one that really got me.
There is no logic.
No, because we didn't want to put the HBO shows too high because we kind of gave the network shows an advantage because we think HBO has no rules. They don't have an audience. Like I don't know.
That's an interesting take. That's an interesting spin on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I also thought when I saw Veep at 6, I thought Veep probably should be a little higher. Veep is a great show, but
there was sort of a bias against some of the shows that are on cable and have a different set of rules. All right, Jimmy, we are out of time, so you're voting Curb to win it all. If you could go to Maggie and Pearl and vote, by the way. It's we have 2 more weeks of July, man. Who knows what list will come up? You got to put out that broadcaster list.
I'll do it before the NFL season. So the problem with me putting out that list is I need those guys to come on my podcast. So if someone gets snubbed, then they don't come on, and I get screwed.
Dude, you think I had problems with my Bill Belichick thing? You have real problems. All right, Jimmy, great to talk to you. We'll talk soon.
All right, take care, buddy.
Bye, Jimmy.
Oh, man. Well, you know what that means. We have 1 segment left. Enough time for the Pete Bellotti Invitational Tournament. Pete's sitcoms are coming up next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. Okay, we have our Maggie Perloff sitcom bracket out there. We're at the Sweet 16. Voting will be Monday. The 4 number 1 seeds, Seinfeld, MASH, Cheers, and Simpsons are all still alive. Couple double-digit seeds, Family Guy and Married with Children, making a lot of noise out there. Now, Pete Bellotti has had issues from day one here. Andrew Bogusch in for Maggie Gray. You, of course, are not surprised that Pete had issues.
Pete always has issues.
So, Pete, we let you do your own bracket. Actually, we didn't let you. You told us
my own.
Yes. Yeah. There was a let it. So where are we in the BIT, the Bellotti Invitational Tournament live from Dayton?
The bit is at 8, the Elite 8. We had basically all of the ones advanced to the Elite Eight except for one, which was Full House. That got bounced. So the Elite Eight matchups are Home Improvement against the Flintstones.
Okay.
The Wonder Years against Laverne and Shirley.
Yep.
Odd Couple against Welcome Back, Kotter. And Three's Company against Third Rock from the Sun.
Three's Company slipped through our bracket. I don't know why it wasn't on there. I had a phone call yesterday. I was explaining this bracket to someone, and they said, "Oh, no doubt, Wonder Years is my overall winner." He said that is a show that talked to me more than any other show. And I said to him, "Oh, we had Boy Meets World with the other Savage brother on there." He's like, "You had no idea what you're talking about."
And whose fault was that?
EJ.
I mean, this is the common denominator.
Well, Wonder Years, the issue was it's not totally just a sitcom. It's I think you could argue it's a little different than your. It's a little more drama sitcom, right? That's fair to say.
You could, but it's considered a sitcom.
But it is weird that he has Home Improvement going against Flintstones. That feels like a strong NIT matchup. Those are big shows.
Flintstones, how many episodes of the Flintstones were there? Do you know?
I looked it up briefly. I'm gonna guess it was like 118.
Really?
I think it was something like that. It was in 100. I thought it was.
I would have taken I take the Jetsons over the Flintstones 8 times a week.
Well, that was the matchup. The first round matchup.
I should have paid attention to this.
The Flintstones against the Jetsons.
There is no way the Jetsons is over the Flintstones.
Oh, I love the Jetsons.
Fred Flintstone is so iconic. The Jetsons, by the way, it's so funny that so many of those things they had in there now seem so quaint compared to actual technology.
Yeah, but I still want to get on like a moving sidewalk and go through a machine that dresses me, and I don't want to eat my food in pill form. Yeah. I want to eat whatever I want and then take a pill that negates all the bad stuff I just ate.
Have you not been paying attention to what's going on in the world with Ozempic? I think that's kind of happening.
No.
But the flying cars might happen. Elon's working on that.
166 for the Flintstones.
Really?
Now, did Flintstones jump the shark with Kazoo, the little green guy that only Fred could see?
Yeah. It would have been.
We call that the mushrooms era of Flintstones.
Probably would have been a 3 or a 2.
I think Flintstones more iconic too. You ever have a big piece of steak somewhere and we go, "Oh, that's a Flintstones cut," right? Because remember you had the giant
and great vitamins, and we love Fruity Pebbles.
Yabba dabba do.
And then they did the John Goodman was Flintstone in a real life movie that was
which stunk.
Of course it did. Roseanne was in that too, right? Not Roseanne. Rosie O'Donnell.
I will tell you one thing. Fred's wife, what's her name?
Wilma.
Kind of cute.
Cartoon hottie.
Yeah, she was a hottie. She was like the Ginger from Gilligan's Island of this thing.
And Jane, isn't Jane? No, that was the daughter. What was the Jetsons' wife?
His wife, something?
Elroy?
Jane, his wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to go for beautiful women, your bracket's killing us. You have Suzanne Summers and Three's Company. I got caught in a rabbit hole, by the way, the other day of how Suzanne Summers got fired from Three's Company. It is one of the wildest stories ever. She had a contract dispute, and they made her call in. The plot was that Chrissy called in from her mother, who was sick, and they had a separate set. They wouldn't let her on set. She did the last 2 minutes of every show. Does anyone remember this?
Yes, I remember because I was watching it from the beginning to end, 1 point in 1 year.
Right.
Like it was on TV.
That's what you decided to do with your time?
It was on TV at a certain time. So I watched it, and then they wrote in new characters.
Yeah, then they had a new Chrissy, which did not work. Right. You also had Pam Anderson was in Home Improvement, right?
She was, and so was Debbie Dunning.
Yes, you had obviously hot Wilma Flintstone. Any other?
Valerie Bertinelli.
Valley Bertinelli. Oh,
okay.
Anyone else in the BIT?
That was it.
I mean, we had Sofia Vergara in Modern Family.
Yeah. Jack Kay in 227.
Don't forget about Jack Kay.
I said that Flintstones jumped the shark. The Maggie and Perloff show officially just jumped the shark. We did have Jack Kay in 227. No, I get it. I totally get it. That'd be this is the kind of stuff we could do when Maggie is on vacation.
And your favorite Mimi from Drew Carey.
I don't remember that. All right. Well, I hope everyone was able to listen to this, that the tech glitch is not slowing down their lives like it is Maggie. Hopefully, the country stays afloat. We're back Monday. Thank you to Ryan Botcher, of course, Pete Bellotti, Andrew Bogish, sitting in for Maggie Gray, and to you, the audience. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You're in a 5-minute break.